So we're joined with Hot Boy Spicy, the best Naruto YouTuber in my opinion, because he's an actual writer, just like me. Hey, tell us about that writing stuff you do.
Is he a screenwriter like you,
I
or is he
mean,
just a writer?
tell us.
I'm not one. I'm not one to appeal to authority. I am not the best Naruto YouTuber because I'm a writer. I'm the best Naruto YouTuber because I've produced the best Naruto content. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There's plenty of people who. I mean, I just talked to Crafts last night on the podcast, and he's made some great Naruto videos. I would never put myself above him because I think he makes just as compelling observations as I do. So.
For sure, I want to get him on too. Same with a few other people like Hedon's Haven. She's really good, as well as I forget.
Oh yeah.
Who's that other girl that's really good that I always praise all the time?
I forgot her
the one that
name,
made the Itachi clown video.
It better not be
Sky Sailor. That's it.
I know there was a girl or a woman she. What was the video? It was over Sasuke. It was about how Sasuke was right or something. Is that the same person?
I have no idea.
I don't think
Sounds
so.
like an Oodie video. If you just switch it to Madara.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember her name. But yeah, I did watch that video and I was kind of like, ooh, cringe.
I don't know about that, but Hashirama's wrong, so that's all that matters.
Oh my god.
I guess we're gonna have a lot to discuss.
There's a lot.
He has a lot of. Ood has a lot of hot takes.
Should we just start by asking, all of our debate questions?
That's what I was thinking.
And then introduce the actual topic of the podcast.
So from the narrative perspective, we need your expertise.
Right or wrong in your opinion?
Yeah, you need to be more specific than that.
Yeah.
Was he right for wanting to do the infinite Tsukuyomi?
I mean, you know my answer.
Do you think the infinite Tsukuyomi is objectively correct?
This is a rhetorical question, though, right? Because I think you've all seen my content, so you would know my answer.
See.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to elaborate on why he would be wrong? Because I think I do a much better job.
That's fine. You said he's wrong. Works for me. Next question.
No. Okay, go for it. Dude, to give us your expertise so that I can slam you, son.
Well, hold on, Oodie. I say we just start by getting his answers, which will probably agree with me, and then we'll elaborate later.
Well, I don't think that's the best, but okay, I guess, sure.
Let me give.
You think the Paynarch is good or bad?
Let me give an answer I haven't given.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
This is just one based on my current perspective of reality. Okay. Really simple. So, the Shinobi Force, Naruto, Sasuke, everyone who was against Madara, they lived in what they considered their own reality. You think back to what Itachi said about reality and how reality can be a fickle thing. In one instance, your reality could be an illusion. But regardless of that, these people truly have hope and belief in their reality and that their reality can get better. They love their reality enough that even through the darkness of it all, they can see something beyond that darkness. And since they have hope for it and believe in it so much, that I think is a lot more powerful than a reality of well, no, not even a reality, a promise that potentially, who knows if it could actually be kept. And who's to say if it will actually be exactly optimal, like Madara says? Who's to say that it's not going to end up just like the current reality? So essentially, I guess what I'm trying to say is they've experienced enough good in this reality to want to fight for it. So why would they give that up? If that they can endure what they have and still feel that way about their reality, like what's more powerful than that? If you've experienced a lot of bad shit, you can still look around you and say, I'm glad I experienced it and I'm glad I'm here. That's such a more powerful force than a bunch of vapid promises for something that might be better. Because who knows for sure if it would actually be a paradise, as Madara says it is. Even if, and going deeper than that, by the way, in our reality, where we're seeing illusions of a projected reality from the minds of authors. Who's to say this reality isn't just another one of those projections by a force over us? Who's to say? But then my answer to that would be, who cares? Who cares? I'm living in this reality. It's my reality, and I have a dream, and I have a end goal in this reality. So I'm going to keep fighting for it, and I'm going to keep striving for it. That's, it's applicable even if we're talking about our reality, because that is a pretty prevalent theory that this may be just one of many quote unquote simulations. But what that really means is this could just be a concocted reality from a higher universe. That's a prominent theory among a lot of people smarter than me. So, yeah.
A few thoughts on all that. So first of all, I find it really interesting how you start off your justification with Itachi, who I would consider to be the most wrong character in all of fiction. I would consider to be the antithesis of Madara. So Itachi chose the village, Itachi chose the current shinobi system, and Itachi chose the current world over Madara. So he's basically just the biggest opponent to Madara's ideology, in my opinion. Beyond that, well, who's to say that it's not going to be a better world? Well, technically, if I want to be like in universe, first of all, it was. But how do we know that? Well, Madara is the caster of the Genjutsu. So if Madara says it, I don't know why it wouldn't be the case. Like, it's not its own separate world.
Well, Oodie,
It's Madara's world.
It goes for okay. Oh, come on, you can go, Kamui. Sorry.
Okay, so here's the thing about that, though, because I didn't actually think, like you brought up, who's to say it's going to go the way Madara wants? That's a great question, because, I mean, in canon, the infinite Tsukuyomi doesn't do what Madara wants, as we know, but who's to, like, even if, minus the Zetsu thing, who's to say the dream actually just isn't perfect? Like, he is just wrong about that, too. It doesn't do what he expects. If that was the case, would you still say it's the best option, Oodie?
Yes.
If you knew the dream was just basically reality all over again?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. So first of all, before I directly answer that, I will say also, it's just a thing in Naruto that once you get a new jutsu or new ability, especially like in Boruto, you just know how it works essentially. So like,
not always.
Okay, but like for example, Itachi didn't learn how to do the Tsukuyomi. He just did know it.
Yeah, but then again, it's context dependent. Sometimes you're absolutely right. Like, take Walky. He didn't like learn how to do it. He just like to use the Shikin's ability. Like, he just immediately he knew how to do it. Whereas Naruto had to learn how to do the Rasengan, breaking down into steps for how it works and so on. So it depends. Like, sometimes you do need to know, like, literally how to do what you're doing and how it works. Other times, poof, they just learn it.
Sure, but Shinjutsu specifically seems to be a thing to where once you have it, you know how to use it. It seems to be more so the case. And whereas you can argue,
how they've been applied so far. Like,
sure, you can.
It's applied. It's the same as like Danzo or Madara gaining Hashirama's wood style. Well, it's because it was transplanted onto him, and because of it, he just acquired it. But whereas if Madara hypothetically tried to just like, I'm gonna learn how to use Sukuna Hikona, like he's like, oh, this is how it works. Well, let me try to recreate it. That would be a completely different scenario. No guarantee he actually could do that because he's not an Otsutsuki, but hypothetically speaking. And actually, it's a theory that Boruto actually did that with Uzuhiko, but that's besides the point. But the point is, in the case of like Kawaki, Damien, Ada, and so on, just like God's abilities were transplanted onto them, that doesn't apply for all. Of course, in Madara's case, that is basically what happened. Like, he just absorbed the God Tree, awakened a Rinne Sharingan when he went towards the moon, and then he got the ability. So in this case, I think it's fair to say that, like, he can just use the ability. Obviously, he did. But the point is, what if the ability just doesn't do what Madara thinks it's going to do? Remove Zetsu. Well, what if the Infinite Tsukuyomi doesn't actually do perfect dreams? What if it just starts off perfect, and then it turns into their worst nightmare? There's no guarantee, because there's no precedent of a person saying, there's no precedent for a person who lived out their life in the Infinite Tsukuyomi and had it perfect. Because anyone who was in Kaguya, probably we don't have any records saying, oh, it was the best dream in the world, and B, they didn't finish their life in the dream because they were either turned into Zetsu or released. So we don't know how it concludes. There's no way to know because you can't really track that. So for all we know, it ends in their worst nightmare, and there's no guarantee that this actually is better than the current reality everyone wants to fight for.
So, okay. Again, before I directly get to that, so Madara, it's fair to say he's not Otsutsuki, but at the very least, he's approaching Otsutsuki. He's approaching godhood.
Absolutely,
he's approaching a higher divine celestial level, closer to omnipotent being, whatever. He even says he's immortal. He probably has knowledge that we don't have, some comprehension that we can't understand. So he probably should know how the ability works.
I don't think
Plus,
Madara actually, like, I know Obi, not to cut you off, but I know Obito's like, I've attained enlightenment. He's capping. He's not any smarter than he was. He's just stronger. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. All of Madara's knowledge is this stone tablet. But again, who is the stone tablet? Always says like, oh, it's perfect dreams. That's where he gets his information.
By the way, I have now two major contentions I've been saving for you guys. You can keep going. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
well, I think I know where your contention is. Okay, so yes, Madara has all these added things. He has the 10 tails, he has the god tree, he has all these things that make him closer to godhood. But even stripping that away from him, Madara in his base form, he still has the experience. He's a tremendously proficient shinobi. Not only that, he's an Uchiha. He has a in-depth comprehension, knowledge of Genjutsu, of the Rinnegan, of the Sharingan. He is one of the only people that unlocked it himself. In fact, I would argue he's the most proficient with the Rinnegan, considering he unlocked it without any other shenanigans.
I'm sorry, I'm so lost. What is this an argument for? Like, what are we arguing?
This is for arguing whether or not Madara should know about the Infinite Tsukiyomi before it's casted.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Like, the point isn't, obviously he knows about it.
Well, like, what's going to happen
like,
in it?
The point is, what if it doesn't do... For example, Naruto, when he uses Rasen Shuriken, did not know that he was destroying his own cells on a cellular level. Like, he didn't know until Tsunade examined his arm and told him, hey, this is what happened to you in Kakuzu.
And Naruto's a dunce.
Naruto mastered the Rasen Shuriken, did
not
know what it was doing.
Madara not only is an Indra incarnate, so he's extremely talented, but he is a genius as well.
Okay, why don't we listen to what Hotboy has to say first?
You guys are latching onto things that don't. I mean, especially if we're talking about my case, right? I think the aspect when I said we don't even know if Madara's promises are, even close to 1-to-1. That's almost irrelevant, though. While it is relevant in totality, I think the more pivotal thing you should look at is what these people consider their current reality and how much that matters to them. I think that matters far more in this context than simply like, oh, does Madara actually know? And can we theorize if he actually knew, if his divine place was good? And the thing is, mind you, Madara was in control of it. We've seen a glimpse of it. We've seen that Madara could concoct essentially anything he wanted. He made himself younger. He showed Obito. He literally brought Obito into his realm and said, like, hey, I can essentially do whatever I want. See, look, I'm young Madara. I'm hot again. Let's go. Right? So it's not like it's not like we don't know he could do amazing things in that realm. But when I said we don't know necessarily if it's going to be just as amazing, that's kind of like a loaded statement. There's a lot of things that like I have behind the cover whenever I say that. And if I were to go a little bit into it, I mean, like, the world, these people can fight so hard for the world, I think, because those experiences they've had, and this goes into, a lot of the thematics that I talk about in my video, those hard experiences they've had have made them a lot stronger, and therefore they're able to appreciate much more. It's one thing to appreciate the good moments, but it's a completely transcendental mindset to even appreciate the bad. And in Madara's world, that perspective is completely null. You don't have that perspective because nothing bad happens. And therefore, it's like, for us, it's a completely asinine, not only asinine, but it's inconceivable. Like, a world without darkness is also a world without maturity. And these people can only fight and can only hope now because the darkness of the world that they've endured has allowed them to mature. And that maturity has allowed them to realize that despite all the bullshit of this world, it's still worth protecting because I am as I am now. And I like the current me. And I like my current comrades. Therefore, I'm going to fight to protect it. I think that's what really matters in this context. Whether Madara could achieve ultimate bliss for everyone or not is irrelevant, because even if he could, again, it's not a world necessarily worth fighting for, like the current battle-stained shinobi world is in the Fourth Great Ninja War. Yeah, but that's kind of my perspective.
Right, and I also think it's also about like radically accepting the way the world is, and just radically accepting that like this is the way kind of life is, and just like moving on with life and continuing to like function and like moving on and continuing to thrive and live for this current existence in this current world. Is kind of how I see it, you know.
I want to actually continue on that. So Oodie, we've discussed this before. So like, as from a narrative perspective, like the ones who like win in the story are the ones who accept their true selves. The ones who put on a mask, don't accept their true selves, always fail. In the case of the Infinite Tsukuyomi, I don't think anyone who wants the Infinite Tsukuyomi truly accepts themselves, who they are and what they mean, and or anything of that nature. Otherwise, you wouldn't care for it. But the ones who do it, like truly accept themselves, love themselves, believe in themselves, they don't need this Infinite Tsukuyomi. They've already achieved true happiness. Like, that's part of, like, it's a message in art to, like, to accept who you are. You can change yourself, like Hinata, but you need to accept who you are, understand who you are. And if that's the case, I don't think there's any point to the Infinite Tsukuyomi, honestly. Like, because you've already achieved what you needed to do.
Okay,
I didn't really word that the best, but
I have a lot of thoughts on this. So I come from the completely opposite perspective of you, Kamui, when you say that. I believe the Infinite Tsukuyomi is the jutsu of acceptance. The reason I think that is because, unlike what Hot Boy Spicy was saying, there is conflict in the Infinite Tsukuyomi, and that goes back to Madara understood this. He's understood the duality of man. People both crave peace and desire conflict at the same time. That's natural, that's human, that's instinct, and that's completely okay. His world still has that because that allows them to accept themselves. So, I don't want to...
No, let him finish,
I don't want to undermine the value that these people put on their reality, but look at the story itself. Naruto couldn't understand Sasuke because he had emptiness. He didn't have people in the first place. Similarly, Madara came from before this time, from before society was even formed. He lived before society, he lived in society, and he lived out of society. And then he saw how society was able to shift as the time went on. He was able to witness all of reality rather than just one scope of it. So his appreciation and his understanding of reality, his experience, allows him to have a more thorough comprehension of what is truly good and bad for reality in and of itself, compared to anyone else like Naruto, who fights against him because he appreciates reality. Well, he just doesn't appreciate it to the same degree as Madara because he can't.
Okay. But my question then would be, what about Hagoromo? Someone who witnessed all of it, start to finish, from 1,000 years ago to the present. Does he not remotely understand anything?
Has Hagoromo witnessed it all? He's been in the Pure Lands. Has he been witnessing from the Pure Lands the whole time?
Yeah, he admits, like, Naruto's, like, so in a nut. Like, he's watched what Madara did. He knew about Madara implanting Hashirama cells into himself, awakening the Red God. Like, he's seen everything.
He's seen Madara, which is a reincarnation of Indra and Ashura, his children.
No, but he's, like, watched it.
But I don't know if he's seen absolutely everything, and even if he has, he doesn't comment on it.
Single, like,
plus his
corner of the world.
He isn't speaking on this philosophy at all. He's more so speaking on stopping Kaguya because he knows the truth of the Zetsu anyways.
I mean, that is fair to say, but at the same time, at the end of the day, Hagoromo was never... I mean, I guess, yeah, he always knew the problem with the Infinite Tsukuyomi, but so we can't really say on the philosophy aspect.
And I mean, to go to, by the way, just because I've been holding that point that you made about how, like, who's to say that Madara couldn't just replicate, the duality of humanity. But if you really think about it, what is the end point before it gets recycled back to the beginning of the duality of humanity? It's warfare. Everything will inevitably escalate into some form of at least semi-widespread conflict. And what would happen in Madara's world is, because since that breeds the cyclical violence, right? What he would do is he would have a fail-safe, right? Whereas there'd be some impeding force in this ultimate illusion that would always stop war before it began. And what that does, right, is it completely decapitates any semblance of freedom. So essentially, humans don't have the freedom to make terrible mistakes, which could be a good thing or could be a really bad thing, depending on your perspective.
So I agree, the Infinite Tsukuyomi would stop war, but it wouldn't stop the smaller scale, the fledgling battles. The conflict would still exist.
It definitely would, though.
We see it. Yamato continues to fight Kabuto in his.
But the thing, so using the Yamato example, is Yamato doesn't fail. He has conflict, but they.
Wait. What happens at the end of that? Wait. Hold on. I have to. But what happens at the end of that?
Because of the conflict. Yeah. So because of the conflict, he accepts himself. And his current state.
Yeah, he breaks through the thing that bound him. Itachi trapped him. He confined him in a cage until he acknowledged himself. And what happened? He was liberated from the Genjutsu because he accepted himself, his real self in reality, not his figment of imagination that's some all-powerful being above Orochimaru. He accepted himself as he is in the real world. Therefore came back to reality.
That's the Izanami jutsu on Kabuto. I'm not talking about Kabuto. I'm talking about Yamato. So like the fake, so the fake Kabuto in Yamato's dream.
In his Infinite Tsukuyomi dream.
What does this have to do with what we're talking? I'm confused now.
Yamato doesn't accept his current Infinite Tsukuyomi dream until after he fights and defeats Kabuto, and then he's able to accept it because this is a place where he belongs. In fact, a lot of the people in the filler Infinite Tsukuyomis, they end by acknowledging this is the place where they belong, and then they're happy.
Sure, and even if that were the case, that still doesn't like detract from what I was saying earlier about how even if that world is either just as good or better, why wouldn't they still fight for the current world that they have grown to love now, that they've matured so much in? Like it's irrelevant. Like I said, regardless of the potential paradise that lies on the other side, why wouldn't you fight for the current world if you truly love it?
This goes back to what Kim was saying, is that, I forget exactly how she worded it, something like radicalize the way things are to accept the world as it is. Yeah.
You radically accept that things are, that this is the way things are. And like what I mean by that is that you don't get overly depressed about how things are, and you're able to like accept this is the way life is, and you're able to like move on and continue existing and continue living, continue thriving.
Well, I mean, I guess not necessarily.
I don't think anyone who
there's a lot of people that can do that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, think of Naruto's journey. What was he actively doing? I mean, even Itachi's someone who actively accepted the fate thrown upon him as a liaison between, or a double agent between the Leaf and the.
More like that's kind of the end goal, I guess, is what,
Well, like Naruto, right? Like he's a proponent for change, and he's a proponent for, while there can't ever be absolute peace, he's a proponent for more reformation that could lead to just a better world all around. Conflict will persist, but you'll have less disastrous circumstances happening all the time, right? Which he does fulfill. He proves that it can be done.
So throughout the entire story of Naruto, both in terms of timeline and like episode number as we get it, like the plot or whatever, stagnation and just accepting the way things are has been not only just shown, but narratively proven to be the wrong answer. look at Naruto at the beginning of the series. He's told he's just going to be the Nine-Tails brat. He can't even beat the graduation exam. Then he goes on to overcome Neji with Destiny, the themes of Destiny. Later on in the war arc, we have Naruto overcoming Destiny again through the cycle of Hagoromo, his reincarnation with Indra and Asha. Well, Naruto says, well, he's not Ashura, and Sasuke isn't Indra either. And so they fight to prove that. And even beyond that, not only does Naruto say this world is messed up and he's going to change the shinobi system at Haku and Zabuza's graves, but Kid Obito also says the same thing in the war. And he's not wrong. He narratively wins in that arc because he says that. And even going back to the beginning of the timeline, look at Hashirama's father. Hashirama's father accepted the way things were and gave backlash against Hashirama for resenting the current system. If Hashirama accepted that, he wouldn't have built the village with Madara. Building the village was inherently striving for the better world.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, again, and sorry, continue.
I was just saying, but Oodie, if stagnation is like the infinite Tsukuyomi would stagnate the world doesn't progress from that point forward.
You don't need to, I mean, you can't progress from perfection. And plus, if there's constant progress, towards what?
That's assuming that dream state is perfection. You don't know that, because again, humans would not have the same freedoms at all. Not only that, and it wouldn't be like a regional problem. It would be a universal problem. So a divine force would literally stop them from doing from making terrible mistakes that would hurt people. That it would literally stop conflict the moment it was going to happen.
But we do see people make mistakes and hurt people. Look at Tintin's infinite Filoromi dream, if you want to call it that. You probably haven't seen all the fillers, I guess. I don't know, maybe, but there's a lot of conflict and a lot of people being hurt and a lot of mistakes being made in this Infinite Tsukuyomi.
A, I mean, it is filler, but B, it's like, even if it wasn't, again, like this is all inconsequential. I'm not talking about the inconsequential crap. I'm talking about the things that would lead to like actual despair, like people's families getting killed in front of theirs, like something like that happened in Nagato or Sasuke. Things like that could not happen in Madara's world.
Okay, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, but it's fine if you don't think it's a bad thing, but you at least have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of freedom is by definition robbed from humanity. When you add, like, there is a literal divine force that stops that from happening. And that's even assuming you could even get close enough to there, because there might be a resetting divine force that Madara is so against it, he'll reset it. Or he'll reset your circumstances before you even get close. Again, there's a lot of questions. It's like, how is this even moderated, right?
So
limiting. But we know for a fact, at the very least, you wouldn't even be able to get in that vicinity to make a mistake that grave. A lot of your freedoms would be taken from you in that regard.
I also want to ask a quick question, Oodie, because this could shape further discussion. But do you think the caster of the Infinite Tsukuyomi makes any difference to its effect? So if Obito casted it, is that any different than if Madara casted it?
No, I believe each individual is put into their own perfect world.
So the caster makes no difference.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know.
Okay, so Hot Boy Spicy well, I guess, I mean, do you want to say your full freaking Hot Boy Spicy thing, or should I just call you Spicy, or what?
I mean, some people call me Hot Boy, some people call me Spicy.
Yeah, I call him Hot Boy, so
yeah, I mean, same. I don't know, it's on and off. Okay. So limiting the freedoms, restricting humanity, that's really interesting because I'm completely against that. But in this regard, it's only limiting the negativity. And would you not say limiting negativity is the same as self-control that humans have the responsibility to develop in the real world?
No, negative emotion is actually really healthy. It's especially healthy to get out when you're feeling it. This is actually what a lot of like therapists will tell you is like, hey, if you have like negative emotion, don't suppress it. Like, let it out and like talk about it and work through it. Like, why are you having these negative emotions? And it's generally, and I don't have a statistic to back this up or anything, but isn't it the case that like relationships where there's not a lot of fighting, like when I say not a lot, like there's like no fighting, aren't those the ones that will like always like never last? Like these two people like never have wobble.
That is true. Like I've seen statistics on that. Do I know the exact number? No. But that is the case with most relationships because like there's no communication. Like through conflict you have communication.
And a level and a deeper level of understanding. And through that deeper level of understanding, if you don't, break up or hate that person at the end of it, through that deeper understanding, you love them more. Because it exposes something that is not readily available to other people. And that this is what Naruto is all about, right? That deeper understanding from experiencing pain with other people and against other people, and it's really is just more than like, feeling good is better than feeling bad. It's a lot more complex than that.
No, I completely understand and agree with that. But I just really want to hammer home the fact that strife, pain, negativity, it all still exists in the Infinite Tsukiyomi. If anything, you're just removing trauma, which I think is a good thing.
But again, you're coming in with a pretty hefty assumption. We don't know exactly what the Infinite Tsukiyomi entails because we didn't see a lot of it. We saw glimpses of people's dreams, and it was happy. But again, who's to say? But we saw, and this is a pretty impactful scene, at least from my standpoint, is we go to Obito, where he sees a glimpse of what his dream would be, and it seems artificially good. It's so foreign to him, and perhaps to humans, it's impossible for it not to feel foreign because we're geared to expect something negative to happen. We're geared to be defensive to it and to endure it and to eventually overcome it. Perhaps. Because again, with Obito, it's like, oh wait, no, this is it's not real.
Like jarring almost.
Yeah, it's just it's freaky. It's foreign and it's
that's what I said to Oodie, the Yamato one, I watch it and I'm like, man, this feels creepy. And a lot of them did I say half jokingly, half serious, it does feel weird. And some of the characters, at least anime only ones, we get small reactions of them almost not liking it, at least at first. It's just not what they want.
At first, yeah, but at first they still realize that they're Infinite Tsukiyomi.
We don't get their end.
But they do learn to radically accept their circumstances.
Which is what Kaneko is saying. Yeah, that's the end goal, is perfection. And they have it, so they accept it.
But of course, I mean, and even to Kakashi, whenever Obito offers the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and he's, Obito, is like, oh, you can be with, the kid me that you idolize and that you want, and then you can also be with Rin. Kakashi's like, ew, gross, this is weird, I don't like this. No, I don't want this. That was in the past, and things have happened since then, and I don't want that,
Yeah, because Kakashi holds the old Obito and Rin in his heart. He's already filled the hole in his heart. He has
radically accept that these things have happened, and that it's time to move on.
Yeah, and I think
I feel like the Infinite Tsukiyomi completely counters the theme of enduring in Naruto as well. The point that Obito and Madara are saying is, don't endure anymore. Just stop enduring. Which is the opposite of one of the main themes and messages of the show.
Well,
in a sense, Madara is the antithesis of the themes of Naruto, in certain aspects.
At the end of the day, I mean, there is something to say about ultimate fucking just disgusting, despicable instances in existence, which is just lives being snuffed out, good lives, right? People that aren't even given a chance to stand up again. and still try to be uppity through it all, because they can't, because they're dead. Their life was snuffed out. They were robbed of their existence. There is something perhaps to say about that. But all I'll say is, even if really bad things happen to good people, as long as you're still alive, you can still, if you choose to, stand up and, clean the muck off of you after being in, that cesspool. And then perhaps, and probably, your perspective, your line of sight will be higher. You'll be able to probably see more after enabling yourself to stand up through all of that. And I think that's part of that whole theme in Naruto of endurance, is that through endurance you can see more than you ever had before, and you're better for it, and you feel better for it because you are better, you're stronger. And this is something I go back to in my Burden of Power video, and how I say, I think at the end of it, 2 men, a fraction of their power lost by the end of this battle, yet coming away greater shinobi still. I think that perfectly encapsulates what I'm trying to say here.
Okay. There's 2 things I wanted to say. Just going back a little bit, I want to just first of all just point out what I believe to be a glaring flaw in the Obito dream line of thinking. That's not his infinite Tsukiyomi, and that's not even close to what it would have been. That, if anything, that's like a Ninshu fever dream.
I'm very
forced by
interested,
Naruto.
like how you just know what everything would entail.
Well,
Obito,
we see other ideas of what it could have been.
All of it is like, we saw what Obito saw in that conclusion, and it's something that he couldn't tolerate, but yet it was something he looked forward to for so long. Yet when he saw just a glimpse of it, he understood right away, oh, this could never work.
Well, the things he saw was, he saw Rin dead, and then he saw a creepy Rin tilt her head and turn into Jubi Obito. That's not... So that's... Naruto is showing him and highlighting and reflecting on his regret. The infinite Tsukiyomi doesn't do that.
No. You're wrong. Naruto is showing him exactly what would happen, what the infinite Tsukiyomi would be. It would be something, again, so foreign it feels far too artificial to ever for Obito to ever operate in it and not feel out of place. Because the current Obito has been through so much despair, and that is what he's known for so long. That's the path he's walked, and that's the world he knows. And the current Rin that he knew was a part of that just as much as he was.
So I completely disagree, because this is Naruto's idea of Obito as opposed to Obito's idea of Obito. Obito knows it's not true. Obito knows this isn't at all what he wanted. He never wanted what Naruto showed him. That's not what he was fighting for.
No, but again, you're warping the point of that scene, is that it's not what he wanted, because again, he assumed it would be something different. Yet that's in actuality what it would be.
I disagree. I think what it would have been is something like what we actually got at the end.
I don't think Naruto is showing Obito. I think it was more so Naruto was seeing.
I should have said that, because I was already thinking of that.
I'm gonna go
a whole lot.
Naruto is peering into Obito's like feelings, desires, not that Naruto is like showing Obito, hey, I think it's more so Naruto sees Obito, not showing Obito.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong foot even debating with you on this, because the problem is like, I think the point of that scene wasn't at all that Naruto was showing him. Naruto was exposing what he was already thinking.
No,
what
but
he was already seeing. Because again, there was no aspect of that, because in the dimension they were, it's something that happens right whenever two high level forces clash and whatnot. It's kind of an equivocal exchange, right? Where both people are on even playing fields, and all it is they can peer inside each other on a deeper level. So it's not that Naruto has more precedence in this environment. It's that they can both peer into each other far better. And that's exactly what Naruto did. All he did was expose what was inside Obito.
I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that because that's
mean,
not how I interpret that at all. How I
I'm
interpret that
looking
is
at the
when
scene in the
Obito,
manga right now,
when Obito pulls
and
out the sword
I
of
can briefly-
Nonoboku, Naruto sees what Obito's thinking of, his flashbacks, his memories. He's getting these small glimpses of the highlights of his life, and then he's crying from that. But that's not what he shows Obito. He doesn't show Obito what his life actually was, what he is missing out on. He's showing him something completely different.
But this is running on the assumption that Naruto. Why would you assume that Naruto is showing?
Real quick, again, I know I
wait,
might be
wait,
biased.
Kamui, let him answer my question. Why would you just assume that?
So I have a full video I haven't made yet, but I have it scripted out on why Naruto's actually like evil, basically. So I know it's a hot take. Listen, you're just gonna have to watch the video because there's no way I'll ever convince you in this call right now. You're just gonna have to watch the video.
No. Wait, you're trying to dodge the question. It's a pretty simple question. Why would you just assume that Naruto is showing him this?
Because he's a gaslighting terrorist.
Literally. Because what?
Oh,
He's
what do you think?
exactly. He's a gaslighting terrorist.
God,
But that's
Naruto
that's not like an actual like objective like response. Like I'm talking about like show me some objective occurrence in the story that leads you to believe in that conclusion.
Okay. In that case, Naruto is fighting Obito. He's going to mentally weaken him, which is almost the point of Talk no Jutsu in the first place. It's to highlight the flaw of the opponent.
No, but again, like you're not giving me like a concrete scene that you can look to and see here. Naruto in this transcendental moment is above his adversary in this plane, and he can manipulate it more than the opposition. You're not giving me any information there.
I don't think I can physically prove it, but it's just what is shown, in my opinion.
No, but that's not. I don't know what physical has to do with this.
So they're connected by ninju.
It seems like you have a theory, and you're completely subscribing to the theory rather than like the objective occurrences in the story.
They're connected by ninju. Obito can't see Naruto's memories or anything. It's just Naruto can only see Obito, and then Naruto's basically controlling the realm, showing everyone behind him when Obito sees that.
Okay, so this is probably the best time for me to make my point. Chapter 654, for reference, it's about middle of the chapter. For me, like I said, I might be biased. To me, I don't view this scene as Naruto showing Obito anything. I see it as Naruto is talking, and Obito is just seeing these things while Naruto makes his point. Naruto does not say, "Come, I won't ignore you," like pretending to be Rin. Obito is just seeing that. Obito is just seeing Naruto as Obito. He's just seeing Kakashi, Rin, Minato. He's seeing them turning into Obito because in the vision he's seeing, these people are being like Obito at the current time. Someone who wanted the infinite Tsukuyomi, being fake, putting on a mask, not being their true selves. Those people aren't how Kakashi, Rin, or Minato would act at all because it's a mask. It's not the real them. That's how I view this scene. Naruto did not show Obito anything. Obito saw what he saw, and Naruto, being connected to Obito's chakra, felt those emotions and scenes and stuff. And it works both ways, of course. If Naruto was to think about his past with Gaara, Obito probably would have seen/felt it too. In this case, though, it's more so Naruto peers into Obito the entire time. I don't think Naruto is snapping his fingers, creating being. I think Obito's just... I don't think Naruto even saw what Obito saw there.
Okay, all of this, by the way, you just way more simple answer, way quicker answers. Is just to mention what Naruto explicitly says. Like, if all of this is the case, Obito, why the fuck do you keep imagining being Hokage? Again, Naruto only has the upper hand because he knows what's lurking inside Obito. Why? Because in this realm that they're in, this Ninshu space, he can peer into Obito. The reason why we don't see it on the opposite side is Naruto has already verbalized all he is and what everyone means to him. Is that they're the support that can lift him up because he allows them to. Obito walked away from it all, yet still deep down, he still thinks about, but what if I had chosen to turn around and walk back? Could I have been the Hokage and rekindled that lost dream? Of course, we're not going to see on the opposite side and go, but look, Naruto, look at the despair. Because Obito had already done that. He had already tried that outside of this realm. And what happened? Who was there? It was Hinata. Someone that Naruto didn't walk away from. Naruto didn't walk away from any of those people, no matter how hard it got. And they were his salvation. And he, in turn, is their salvation. So again, no one has the upper hand in this moment. It's just that they can peer far more keenly into the other's, soul. And that's what was always lurking inside Obito, that doubt, but what if I had just turned around and started walking back? What would happen then? He was always thinking that. He was always lurking.
Yeah, that's why Naruto could see it.
No matter how deep.
Because
it's not that Naruto gaslights them, because gaslighting implies something that they don't truly believe, or they don't truly believe. But Obito always thought about it deep down. Naruto is just exposing it. That's all that's happening.
I agree he's exposing it. I don't think he's thinking about it deep down. If he is at this moment, it's because Obito is also at despair in this moment outside of Naruto, because he had just to face down Kakashi and Minato, relics of his past. He's being forced to face his past.
But you're contradicting.
No,
exactly
I'm saying, assuming we're going down your path, that's why. But I don't think we're going down that path.
No,
I don't think he thought about Hokage. I think Naruto just said that because we do see what Obito thinks, which is just his flashback when he's a kid.
But this contradicts everything, because what does Obito always say? He says, like, this world and the people in it are irrelevant because they're just going to be there in a better form in my new existence. So why the fuck would he care about his battle he just had with Kakashi? Why the fuck would he care about that confrontation he had with Minato again? And mind you, again, and it's crazy that you have this take when you watch my videos. I illustrate this very well in my video. Why in the fuck would Obito ever fight Minato after extracting the Nine Tails? Why would he risk that? He failed and he lost because he risked that. Why take the risk? He had already won, yet he chose to face a part of his painful past all the way back then, way before the war ever happened, because even back then, even when he was still as lost as he ever was, there was something deep down that was latching him onto this quote unquote failed world. And that is that thought, what if I take off the mask and walk back? What would happen? Could that light be? Again,
and
so what's the proof that? Sorry, Kev, go.
I was just gonna say that the definition of gaslighting is like saying what somebody experiencing like isn't real, or that like they're making it up, or and saying that like no one else is like will believe you. That's what gaslighting is. So in this context, I don't think gaslighting would fit.
I think gaslighting does fit because Obito.
I actually really want you to answer this question. So under your theory, like I'm going to call it a theory because it really just comes off as a theory to me. Under your theory, again, my explanation. How would you count? Why would Obito ever fight Minato in that situation?
I agree with.
He had already won.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and logically, it doesn't make sense. It's like objectively a stupid thing for him to do. The reason why is just because of his trauma. It just goes back to it's a relic of his past. If anything, he's killing Minato as well. Minato is a threat as well.
But he's already illustrated why even that's just a meaningless venture, because killing the current Minato, to him the current Minato is a fake. A better Minato in a better world is going to be in existence. Whether he kills this Minato or not, it does not matter. He explicitly says as much in the war arc, and he believed in this thought process all the way back then. So again, the trauma, that's all irrelevant, because this Minato is irrelevant. Everything is irrelevant now because he sees something far in the future, a different world.
No, I completely agree with
Minato lives or not, and whether he deals the final blow is irrelevant, because all of this is no longer his reality. This is his fake now from his demented, from his like warped perspective.
Yes, I'll concede that my answer to this is weak because I haven't thought about that specifically in too much detail, but I disagree with it's because the reasoning that you said. You can see just based on his demeanor that it is affecting him on a different level. He cocks his head, he drops his chain when he's asked, is he Madara? He says, I wonder about that. Everything in his behavior is indicating a level of disgust. Not that he wants to go back to it or resentment.
You don't even have to look at the behavior. You have to. You can just again look at like, why in the fuck would someone who on every cylinder just won risk it all? When he got again, because this is way bigger than what you think it is, because the Nine Tails is literally one of the only keys that will enable him to get to his dream world. Why in the fuck would he risk that over a quote unquote false Minato in a false world? Again, the only answer you can come to is there is some attachment deep down still there.
If there was attachment, he would want to save them rather than kill them.
Well, okay, so this is okay. You look at Obito's behavior towards Naruto in the war arc, I think it's the same concept. Obito has a mask, he has doubt. So what does he do throughout here? I mean, he literally explains it, I don't know what point. He observes the world, and all it did was confirm his feeling. What he wants to do is prove, essentially, that the world does suck. I think killing Minato is actually part of that. If Minato wins, it's almost like a point against Minato. It's like, shit, maybe this world is good. If he kills Minato, it proves his point. Like, this world sucks. He's able to do this. Like, that's how much this world sucks. I think that's why he bothers to fight Minato.
Exactly.
It's part of, like, proving his point.
So on this note, that's a great answer. That sort of expands on what I'm about to say. He doesn't care about the people in the world, but he hates the world. He doesn't hate the people. He hates the world. He doesn't care about the people. That's why he's doing this.
But the people, no, again, you're thinking too small. The people are a part of the world. They're his illusion. The world is the world in its totality, including the people. Minato is one part of this world, but he's just as much a part of the world. He's a part of the world in a small part. But again, he makes up part of the world, and all of the world to Obito is false at this point. So again, that your argument is completely nullified.
No, I disagree.
Because that is Obito's perspective. He says as much.
The people are fake, but the world is real. It's a pitch black hell. He acknowledges this. He acknowledges the reality of the situation.
No. But again, the world is not real because he already believes in his cause, and he's the anti-Naruto. Naruto doesn't say, "We'll see. I think I can become Hokage. Maybe I'll become." No, he says, "I am going to be. My face is going to be on the Stone Mountain." It's the same for Obito. He says, "This world is false and this world is fake. Why? Because my world will come true. I am going to achieve my goal. And everyone's going to be under vengeance. That is going to happen." Again, you have to look at it from this perspective. He's literally anti-Naruto because he used to be just like Naruto.
Yes.
So he thinks in the same ways. It's just his is, again, a lot more demented.
Which is why Naruto's trying to apply his current mindset in the war to the current Obito. The current Obito isn't the past Obito, but he's seeing the past Obito. He sees the past Obito, says he wants to become Hokage.
Still in there. Like I illustrated earlier, the past Obito is still in there somewhere.
Is the past Obito? He's wearing a mask. That's why he says in the Taco Jutsu, "I told you I was going to rip off that mask." The mask was off. The literal mask is off. He's talking like on a deeper level, like narratively. Like, I'm going to rip off your mask. You're putting on an act. Going to get rid of that.
Dude, I'm curious. Did you just watch all my videos and go, man, this guy is just spitting some nonsense right now?
Nah. No, like I said, you're going to have to watch the video. I didn't expect to convince you on this, so it's fine. On that part
I'm surprised I'm not convincing you right now, to be frank.
No,
Oodie is very hard-headed.
We've debated this for
intelligent,
probably 20 hours at this point.
Muscular.
Okay, calm down. Take a breather. Ood and I have discussed this till 6 in the morning one time. It was really ridiculous.
The current Obito isn't thinking of becoming Hokage at all. Only the past Obito. I don't think the past Obito is in there.
The current Obito is the one who has the images.
You're literally just like Obito, bro. I gotta rip your mask off. I gotta find it down there.
We gotta knock you out. We gotta get in your memories. We gotta dig that past self out.
No, but that's why Naruto's talking about the Hokage, because he saw Kid Obito. I'm sure at least you agree with that.
Obsessed with being the savior.
So I'm sure you at least agree. The reason Naruto says you're thinking about becoming Hokage is because he sees Obito in the past want to be that. He isn't seeing current Obito thinking that.
No, bro, it's like
that was the current Obito with like the.
The current Obito was thinking in the past. No, Naruto shows him that hypothetical Obito. Obito isn't thinking of that hypothetical at Rin's grave.
But like, remember,
Obito literally comments like, "Why am I thinking about this?" or "Why am I seeing this?" or like he says like. He's seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. That leads credence towards me.
According to your interpretation,
because
he's
Oodie,
like, why am I thinking?
He's weird for Naruto to show Obito as Hokage and say, "So why are you thinking about being Hokage?" It's because Obito was thinking it, and Naruto just saw it.
Wait. No. He's asking, why am I thinking this? Because he's being confronted, wholly, what is lurking deep down that he's been avoiding. And he's been avoiding it to a really, really extreme extent, to the point where it's like out of sight. He is
not introspective.
Well, it's not. It's not
he
even.
Says, like, "Do I?"
It's not even about like introspection. It's about being so in the muck that you're unwilling to even acknowledge what you know is deep down in there. And I guess, yeah, I mean, it's not about like the inability of introspection. It's the it's not wanting to because, again, given that he gave up on the world, he also gave up on his current self too, right? So why would he bother to think deep down and look at his deepest parts and in his deepest self? But again, it was always there, and it just manifests in his actions. How it manifests always is in his actions. He doesn't have to sit there and convince Naruto, the very man that's going to be in his dream. Because again, like I said, Obito is like the anti-Naruto. He doesn't think, oh, maybe I can make it. No, he's thinking, this world is fake because I'm going to make the real one. It is going to happen. So when he's talking to Naruto, why in the fuck waste your breath to go like, why waste the effort to bring Naruto down to your level to try and convince him to feel satisfied, like, oh yeah, someone just like the past me. And again, because Naruto is just like the past him, and it's reminding him of who he used to be and exposing what's lurking deep down with him. And he doesn't like that because he's avoiding being introspective, because he has to acknowledge that he's actually a failed Obito, the one that Rin would never admire. And why does he care? Rin's dead, and Rin was part of this cursed world that shouldn't matter. Well, it's because deep down it does matter. All of this matters to Obito. He just,
like, in a sense, Obito is low-key realizing / accepting that the world wasn't the imposter, he was the imposter. Yeah. Like, is another way to look at it.
Exactly.
He's the one who had the mask. The world wasn't the lie, he was the lie. He lived his life as a lie for like 20 years.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, though.
Least,
so,
I think your points earlier were way stronger, by the way, than these ones.
No, I agree.
They were a lot more broad, and they looked at the world. They posed a lot of questions that no one really has any good answer to, especially when we look at like when good people don't even get a chance to endure, when their lives are just snuffed out. I think like that perspective is a lot stronger than like looking at Obito's story and seeing a man who just got gaslit at the end from like a righteous path. I think that's like everything we see completely contradicts what you're saying.
Well, this isn't even my argument. I only brought this up because you said this was similar to his Infinite Tsukiyomi dream, or what it would be.
The thing is, that's why I said
what do you mean?
Whether you think Naruto is showing him this or if Obito is just seeing it, because I think Obito just saw it, which would lead credence to it being similar to his dream, at least. Because
why wasn't Obito seeing this before then? Obito's only seeing this now because Naruto is making it, because he's the reminder.
I'm
like,
so
we
confused.
agree with
You're
that.
asking questions. By the way, you're asking questions I've already answered. I said multiple times that Obito disallowed himself from looking deep within himself, because again, he even discarded his current self because it wasn't a part of the dreamland, the real world he was going to create. And when he did see a glimpse of it, finally he was inward. Again, isn't that funny that the moment he sees a glimpse of that dream world, it exposes a little bit of the past Obito, because it is lurking deep within him. And he's like, oh, this isn't right, because I am not that Obito that Rin liked. This feels unnatural because like that Obito is not me. that one, talking happily to Rin. Like, I've done so much, and so much has happened. Like, that's not me.
See, I think it's
That's who I
backwards.
was.
So when he's thinking on his past memories of him talking to Rin, he mentions that he wants to become Hokage. He's not thinking about wanting to become Hokage, but Naruto latches onto that idea. But Naruto's idea of Hokage is separate from Obito, which is also separate from Sasuke's, which is direct proof in this arc itself. What a Hokage is individual to the individual.
Yeah, but I don't get how that's relevant, because Obito doesn't talk about it. He literally disowns well, not disown, that's not the right word. He admonishes that conviction. He says it's irrelevant, because what I'm planning to do is far greater than anything a Hokage could do.
Yeah.
Oodie, I'm gonna just show you this in chat, because I firmly disagree about you saying that he's only seeing Kid Obito wanting to be Hokage. Like, this is adult Obito seeing like a Jonin Leaf Village Obito, then a Hokage Obito, saying, why am I seeing such images? Like, he's currently imagining.
No, I know what you're talking about. I think
future that could have been.
I think that's just a misunderstanding, or we just won't agree. No, this right here is exactly what I was referring to. I think Naruto is showing him this. This isn't what Obito's thinking. Because why would he say, why am I seeing such things? Because Naruto's showing it to him.
In the next page,
and they're
do you think Kurama is lying or wrong?
What Kurama says?
Just because he's
what is Kurama?
Yeah, but again,
he's seeing.
Wait, hold on. Can I just say, Ood, like, again, like we're by the way, we've circled back to this, and I've already dispelled this by saying, this contradicts what we know about these types of scenarios in Naruto, because all that we know about Ninshu, the only thing we know about it is it's like an equivocal exchange that allows both parties to see deeper inside one another. That's it. You're going in with like a theory crafted assumption that Naruto takes.
It's not a genjutsu, you know.
Yeah, like Kurama says it, like Obito's heart has flowed into Naruto. He's like, don't be distracted by it. And Naruto cries also, seeing.
I already pointed that out. Yeah.
I don't think Naruto's crying.
He's examining his very soul.
I don't think Naruto's crying about the fact that he's showing Obito fake images. I think he's crying because he's like, oh my god, this guy used to be like me, but this happened and he changed.
No, but he's not showing Obito the fake images just yet.
He already the fake
Dude, bro, you gotta get out of these Tsukuyomi, bro. We gotta get you out of
this. He's crying because he's seeing his memories and that he was like him.
Oodie, the Hokage one comes before Naruto cries. I'm done.
That's still fine. That's not why he's crying. It doesn't matter when it comes. That's not why he cries. We agree on that. He cries because he sees Obito's past memories. So your argument there is just doesn't matter. It's invalid.
I mean, Oodie, I think it's clear to
say.
But
that's also because it's lurking within Obito. That's also because it's lurking within Obito. He couldn't see that if it wasn't a part of Obito. If it wasn't in his subconscious somewhere.
Okay, Kid Obito seems like a good person, but Obito never changed. Kid Obito wanted to eradicate the shinobi system. He wanted to become Hokage to do that, to change the world for Rin. It was always about that. So Obito's idea...
To eradicate the shinobi system.
He says so himself fiercely.
Yeah, but like, aren't we all...
When does he say he wants to get rid of shinobi?
He says it right before they go save Rin. When he's like, oh, the garbage trash
thing.
Can you send
a screenshot of those words? Because saying...
No, because I don't know where it is. Space, can you find it?
Like in the Kakashi flashback?
Is Space listening?
Yeah, Space is listening. He's posted a couple screenshots already.
Okay, good.
About, yeah.
This is other stuff, though. Okay, I did kind of want to move on to a slightly... Or just go back to something else other than staying on this Obito thing for longer.
I actually wanted to ask you a question like an hour ago that I'm probably going to forget. So,
go ahead.
Oodie, think a character, first people that kind of come to mind would be like Jiraiya or Kisame. Characters who kind of like achieved like a true happiness within themselves, accept themselves at their death. So, and like Itachi talks to Kisame about the whole, like, you don't truly understand yourself until the moment of your death, blah, blah, blah. So, in the case of a character like Jiraiya, do you think he ever would have come to the same understanding of himself, what he was meant to do, and so on, happiness with himself, if he didn't die? The first question. Do you think he could have ended the way he did without dying?
Could he have? Yeah. There's nothing stopping him
Okay.
from not.
Another question was phrase this. First, all right, this is a separate question. Do you think people ever die in their own infinite Tsukuyomi dreams?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and like
But what
Oodie
if
and I
people
kind of
don't want to live
discussed.
forever?
Sorry?
What if someone doesn't want to live forever?
That's a fake idea. They don't actually believe that. Like, goes back to the instinct thing with, like, the love charm that we talked about previously.
Okay.
They can think it, but it's not in their instinct. Like, they can not eat to, like, spite the person and be like, oh, see, I told you, I proved I don't have to eat. I'll even die for this. But that's not their human instinct.
Wait, I don't.
I know. I'm talking to, like, Kamui about something that
people kill themselves all the time. It's like a huge epidemic right now.
No, like, what I'm talking about is something that, like, Kamui has a context to.
Because their instinct isn't to die. They can want to die, but they're in.
Wait, no, but we know. Wait, no, but no, that you're not dispelling what I just said at all, or at least you're not engaging with what I mean. What I mean
Are we
is
talking about like real people or like people in Naruto?
Either way would apply here.
Either applies here. When people kill themselves, they're literally overriding their like instinctual will for survival.
Exactly.
Right? That's literally what you do. What you're doing when you're killing. Like that's why, like for what I hope for all of us, that's why we can't comprehend what that's like to be in a suicidal state, because it goes against so many like natural functions. That of our, you know, our survival instinct is like the most primal natural function we have. Like everything is optimized in our body inactively for survival. The fact that like so many people historically have been able to override that because of their emotional state is, you know, it's incomprehensible to someone like me who's never been there. Yeah. So again, that argument is just like just looking at historically, like it's just the null argument.
Well, the argument here is that the infinite Tsukuyomi would prioritize the subconscious desire over the conscious desire. It relies on the instinct.
Space found the panel.
Yeah.
In chat.
I'm helping good. I don't agree with him.
The middle one.
It doesn't
we
matter.
can move past that
mind.
point real quick.
Then I'll crush that idea of a shinobi. It's the bottom.
Yeah, he says he'll crush that idea of a shinobi. He's referring to the whole, like, I'll ditch my friends for the mission aspect. That's what he wants to crush, not just shinobi in general.
But that idea of shinobi is the shinobi system.
Sure,
yeah,
the shinobi system does not equate.
Not eradicate it.
That doesn't equate to let's eradicate this current world. Like that's
like
Naruto.
Yeah, those are two totally
the shinobi system controls the world. Outside of this, Obito tells Rin that the shinobi world is so messed up and that he's going to change the world. He's going to become Hokage to do that.
Changing the world isn't the same as ending the world. Changing the shinobi system isn't the same as ending the shinobi.
He's not saying end.
Because
he's saying
you have
crush.
Naruto who wants to become Hokage to like change the world.
Dude, you're literally gonna turn me into fucking pain, bro. You're about to make me utter the quote. Maybe it's impossible for humans to truly understand.
You know, speaking of pain,
it's a great. Whereas that's a great segue, I did have one more thing, one more idea on this. So something you said earlier, that you think that Madara is the antithesis of Naruto. I completely disagree. Madara embodies the thesis of Naruto. Haku presents the thesis that shinobi are tools. Well, guess what? They aren't actually. Shinobi are human. And we see that through Madara, through the duality of man's speech. Haku had to fight, but he desired peace. In fact, to go against that broke his heart in two. So yeah. Are you floored?
Flabbergasted? Speechless. He's defeated.
I got distracted by a text message, to be completely honest. It probably helped me set that again.
I have tears in my eyes.
God. I'm saying that Madara embodies the thesis that shinobi aren't tools. Through the duality of man's speech.
I don't think he embodies that thesis, like, necessarily.
How so? Based on what I was saying?
Because, well, okay, finish the rest of what you were saying.
Like, repeat it? Because, like, I did.
Oh, wait, that was the rest of what you were saying?
Well, wait,
done?
no, but like Madara actively contradicts that line of reasoning. He falls prey to the same cycle. By the way, he actively criticizes because what is he doing? What is if to encapsulate what he's doing in one sentence, it's a means to an end. And why does that sound familiar? Because that's the shinobi system. It's like
but Ood is totally okay with that. To be, you know.
But again, that means like that ideology. You would also be fine with a nation saying this bloodshed is fine because it's a means to our peace. If we crush this other land, we will finally have peace. This bloodshed, even on our side, is just a means to that end, to that peace. Right?
Actually, I do have an answer for you.
Let's not think about compromise and resolution. Let's think about the end goal, which is like there will never be even a chance that we can have conflict if we just crush the other side. If we crush the other side, there's not a chance. We don't even have to worry about the future anymore, right? Let's breed more conflict now, so that if we do crush them, we don't have to worry about it at all in the future, right? It's the same idea. Madara is just like, hey, let me create ultimate despair on a scale never before seen, so I can get to the ultimate paradise.
Yeah,
it's the same methodology, ideology.
So I'm about to say something that's going to make you understand my perspective to where you're not even going to want to argue this anymore because you're not going to try and convince me. So I agree. Eren Yeager is right. So there you go.
I don't know exactly what that's supposed to prove or like how that goes with this thing.
The means to the end is justified.
So it's okay to kill like a kabillion people. It's okay to kill like 80% of the population as long as you like get what you want in the end, right? Right.
As long as the means to the end is perfect.
LOL, haha.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. You know, kill children and like babies. It's fine. LOL.
For infinite happiness, yes. Finite destruction is justified.
Like Madara along the path does do like kill people he doesn't need to kill just for fun.
Like Oodie doesn't care.
He's enacting his natural instinct. Duality of man.
Ood, but there's bound to be people. Hey, Ood, there's bound to be at least one motherfucker who was in the 1 in a billion spot, in a position to where he or she survived the rumbling, and now would that person not be justified to go after Eren to ensure an atrocity like this never happens again?
No, I agree.
This person is going to go after. Would they be justified? Yes or no?
Would they be justified? Yes or no? No. Because they're brainwashed.
They wouldn't be justified to go after Eren after destroying their land that had nothing to do with the conflict with Paradis and...
No, it did.
Whatchamacallit?
No, the whole world is an ally to Marley.
Yeah, it makes every single person not on Parody is evil.
Yeah, every person in Marley is evil, and they cannot be unbrainwashed.
Not just Marley, but the entire world.
Yes.
And they can't be unbrainwashed. It would take too long to brainwash them, so we have to kill them.
Yes.
No, but he didn't just kill Marlians. He killed way more than just Marlians.
I'm saying he thinks even non-Marlians, just not Parody, everyone else is evil. That's Oodie's stance.
Just
No. It's not that he thinks they're evil. It's that they have the potential to impede the Parody people just as Marlians did. So he's again, it's just like I said, he's snuffing them out before they even have a chance.
No, I'm saying they lack a brain function to understand the difference that we can. They will always see that. I'm saying they don't lack the nuance to understand that Parody isn't evil naturally.
And I disagree with that because like people like it's been a while since I watched not Gabby, but
Falco,
her friend, Falco. Yeah, like I would use Falco as my example.
He's a sweet.
Or even Gabby, like she understands. Like Gabby takes more effort, of course, but like she did understand. She has the potential.
Gabby's the mirror image of Eren. You know?
After slaughtering how many Parody people?
He literally isn't even an Eldian whatsoever. He still had the ability to understand.
Falco,
but he was able to do it. It's possible. They've proven it.
It's just But again, you didn't. So, but you never extended that. Why wouldn't that person say, hypothetically, if they survived that rumbling and saw all their civilization that had nothing to do with the Marley and parody conflict, mind you, they were an outside entity, neutral, nothing to do with. Maybe they didn't even know about the conflict because again, he eviscerated a lot of lands that were outside of Marleyan territory that had nothing to do with any of this shit. We saw that. We saw all the cultures. We saw everything that he was destroying. It was much more than just Marleyans. Why would they not be justified like Aaron's, how would they be less justified to go after the very person that caused all this strife and destruction and them so much pain when Aaron is crushing people that are irrelevant from that conflict? How would they not be more justified to go after Aaron?
Because of their brain.
Yeah, but
you have to elaborate on that.
They lack the ability to understand that Parody isn't evil, so they're naturally going to try and kill Parody. Parody's defending itself. Because either way, that person was going to be a threat to them.
Wait, I don't follow. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
He essentially thinks they have like a mental disability that prevents them from thinking Parody is not evil.
He thinks they're retarded, basically.
Yeah.
But wait. If they don't know anything about, if they're coming in with a fresh perspective on anything, they don't know anything about these people. What makes you think that? What makes you think they're just automatically going to see these people and go, "Oh my God, we have to like eviscerate them"?
Because of the way the universe, the fundamental physics in Attack on Titan operate. It's just different from how our real life operates.
I think I disagree.
That does not answer my question whatsoever.
People who are able to like change. They're it's like nature versus nurture. Their nature isn't to hate Parody, it's their nurture. But because of their nature, they can overcome it.
Marlians hate him from experience. Wait, no. This framework is so fucked. The Marlians hate them from experience, from historical experience. These people outside of don't have any like historical lens that they're looking at the Parody people through. So again, they're coming at it from a fresh perspective. You can't say their minds are already one way or another.
Everyone on Earth has a brain, and I'm saying all of their brains are different from all of our brains. And so it doesn't matter if they're coming in from a fresh perspective because it's not nurture. It is nurture for Marley because they don't have the fresh perspective. But for the people with the fresh perspective, it is nature.
You're going to have to qualify a bit. When you say their brains are different from our brains, do you mean like they have fiction brains and we have real brains? Is that what you mean?
No, but that is one difference, I guess, that doesn't really make a difference in this argument. They think differently from us, fundamentally.
Who?
Like their world doesn't reflect our world.
Everyone in the Attack on Titan universe.
No. The Attack on Titan universe is literally supposed to be a reflection.
Correct.
A reflection, not a one-to-one correlation. Yeah, I mean, if it was a reflection, it'd be the same exact like world, like Earth.
It's a reflection. It's a reflection of
humans.
I agree.
Yeah.
But a reflection only goes so far.
Okay. Here's what I'm trying to say. It's the same skeleton. The flesh outside of it might be completely different, but it has the same foundational structure. Yeah.
I agree. That's why I'm saying like this is more of a complexity thing. It's not a simple thing.
But that foundational structure is mind, the consciousness that informs their actions. Because again, they act the same way. That mirrors humanity. When they're hurt, what do? They lash out and they cause more hurt. And then that hurt is cyclical. It's the same thing humans do in the real world.
I disagree because we see a consistency that they don't act the same way in this one regard. They can act the same way in other regards, but in this specific regard that we're arguing right now, no, they don't.
What do you mean? You're going to have to be more specific.
For example, they lack the ability to see through the government and the what's the word? The government.
The racism.
Sure, that's not the word I was going for sure.
Wait, what? Wait. Literally, by the end of Attack on Titan, there are people that were enemies, historically in the series, right? They were enemies like I don't know how many chapters before the final stuff, and they hated each other. Some of these people, like Reiner, killed so many, yet they're cooperating. You're literally getting contradicted by like the final team up. The final team up contradicts what you just said.
That's what I'm saying. Like Commander McGath, Raina, Annie, Falco, Gabby, they all do it. It's a similar message to Naruto about coming to an understanding. Like, they were not trying to do that. Frankly,
it's
the way the
literally
characters
like
acted,
They're overcoming
you're
their
basically
prejudice.
saying, like, for example, in the United States, a lot of white people not looking at black people very good, to say the least. You would, under your like theory here, is that like humans at the time physically could not look at them as equals. Well, that's
Or
not
mentally,
true. They
yeah.
could. They were raised very evilly, essentially. They were raised to look at them negatively, but that was their nurture. That's not their innate humanity nature.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
the same with Attack on Titan. The characters were raised to hate parody, but
So they
if
did.
they weren't raised that way, they wouldn't hate parody.
I
They
disagree.
were mentally brainwashed. They were not physically incapable of doing it. That's why they overcome it. Because they
disagree.
can. But they do. How did
It's
how
not
did
just their
Raina,
nurture.
Gabby, Falco, and
What is
Commander McGath
the epitome of like the meme, the Chad meme? I disagree. Like no,
I mean, you're looking at the end result by looking at the ending to say, oh, look at Reiner, look at Gabby, look at all the other
But
characters,
it doesn't throughout the whole
Annie.
series. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. Look at what Cam said. They're overcoming their prejudice. What are they overcoming? Their prejudice. The overcome comes
but
after.
the thing is, they can do it. They
The
can
prejudice
do it.
came
You're saying,
before.
You're
Wait.
saying they can't.
No, I'm saying
and you're
they
not
can.
giving
I never
them
said
the
they
chance
can't.
to do it.
I never said they
You
can't.
literally said they physically can't because of their brain function.
Because
No, I
they're
didn't.
retarded, is what you.
That's what you
were
said.
trying to say.
No, but that is what you're saying. Because of their brain function, they physically cannot look at parody in a good way. But that's just disproved
Not
in the series.
naturally.
They can, and they
With
do.
nurture, they can.
So they need to be like snuffed
No,
out.
their
LOL.
nature is they
Hee hee.
can. Their nurture was
You know,
not.
cute girl
And that's
stuff.
vice versa from what I think. See, I don't know why
But
you're
why-
trying to
but,
argue
like,
this,
I don't
Kamui, when
understand
we've
why-
debated this before.
that
You
doesn't
know
make
my
sense
stance
to me
on
because
this.
I feel like
they're
we're-
literally raised.
I feel like
taught
I'm
to
arguing
hate
against
parody.
like
How can you say that their nurture is to love parody when we're explicitly showing them teaching the kids to hate parody, that they're devils? They're clearly taught to hate them. And then their nature is able to overcome it.
wait,
The series just don't do
dude.
it.
I've been giving hold on. I've been giving a lot, and this is what always happens. I feel like when I debate like these stories, is like I'm like very quick to give like objective examples to substantiate my points. I feel like you've given like if not next to none, no. So for this, right? I just talked about like the final team up where enemies become allies. You need to give an example, a concrete example that clearly points to the fact that like these people's mindsets cannot change in this universe, in their thoughts of like the parody people. You need to prove to me the people that got trampled upon that had nothing to do with that conflict would be automatically prejudiced against the parody people, because I cannot see any part in that story that would ever suggest that.
Okay, so just because a specific scene or direct dialogue doesn't exist doesn't mean we can't see it on screen in general. It's like there's a lot of things in Naruto that aren't blatantly said, but we can gather the
No,
information.
but no. Even if they're not blatantly said, there's a scene that directly implies something. So
yeah, that leads
anything.
you to it.
What I'm just asking for anything.
Okay, then the declaration of war scene, nobody stands out against Willie Tiber.
But that's
Because of how they were raised.
They're all Marlians.
No, they aren't. It's the Global Alliance. It's the military
It's
from
the global,
around the
it's
world.
the Global Alliance after being spoon-fed a story that paints them in the worst possible light.
Okay.
It's a scene that lacks perspective, like that lacks an insane amount of perspective.
And I'm saying they lack
One that
the
doesn't
ability
look at
to
the
see
parody
through
side
that.
at all, and that's the point. Is
Because
that you're not
the
looking
thing
at
is,
parody
these
side.
characters that agree with Willie Tiber had nothing. They never came to an understanding with parody because they never met them. So there's no reason for them to believe they're wrong. The ones who believe they're wrong are the ones who meet these characters. They interact with them. They come to an understanding. If you never come to an understanding, you're not going to come to an understanding, obviously. So that's the point. If you try to understand them, you can understand them. And that's the point. These characters can understand them. They just have to try to. They just have to let it happen.
nobody questions Willie Tybur when they're talking about something as severe as genociding an entire race of people. Nobody stops to give it the serious time of day.
Please let me say this, but how does that disprove the stuff that I was saying earlier with the final team up, where Marlians are fighting with Eldians?
Well, again, Kamui is misrepresenting my argument there. They can overcome it. They can overcome their nurture through nurture.
It's not what you said earlier.
No, that is.
Yeah, you were saying they fundamentally are stuck in their mindset.
Okay. Well, then that's a misunderstanding because that's not what I meant.
Well, then what are you trying to say then?
Okay, they naturally hate them, is what I believe, and they are fed this nurture, but they can through.
How do they naturally? Wait. You have to explain. How do they naturally? Like, how are they born to be more susceptible to hating them?
You know what? Just boil it down to a theory, and then we can move on.
Yes, because it is a theory that has no substantial objective backing. Exactly. Thank you. Finally. Okay. We can move on to that.
Okay. So obviously they can overcome, which I'd never disagreed with. In fact, Kamui and I have argued this several times in the past. He knows I don't agree with that. I don't know why he's saying I'm suddenly saying that.
I don't know. I'm like with Kamui on this.
Okay, these are recorded.
You have not made it seem like that. And if you were trying to troll, you did not clarify.
Okay, and
that
I
you
didn't.
were trolling.
And it's clear. You understood what I was saying at the time too.
No, what
this sounds like heavy damage control to me. So
okay, well, it's not because it's recorded anyways, so that's all.
You told me that you think that like Commander McGrath just doesn't actually like the parody people, and he's just lying. I think you've even said that before, so I've never heard you believe that they can change.
But we see them change. Again, this was one of my arguments.
Gabby, he doesn't want to admit that we've convinced him.
No, one of my previous arguments in like several weeks ago was that Gabby changes after murdering several of them. So are we going to allow the entire world to change by murdering several of them each individually? No, there isn't enough parody people to do that in the first place. So we're going to get like I don't know, 30,000 random world people changed after genociding parody.
What about the dude who like cooks for like whatever her name is?
Yeah, so several years later, and he still actively hates them to their face.
No, it was immediate. As soon as he met Sasha.
He was like, "Oh my god, these people are bad," and he like fell in love with her.
It's
all
not.
it took was this lady who loved his cooking.
Literally, that's all it took.
That's just disingenuous. As soon as he met Sasha,
like I cried. I cried because it was so precious. That
he put up a narrative mask
that it was just
still hated
food.
the Eldians, the people of parody, when deep down he didn't. After meeting Sasha, he was lying to himself, and eventually he takes off the mask and admits that she changed him.
Okay, in that case, it's the same result then. Then the people don't actually hate them. It's just their mask that will genocide parody.
But if it's a mask, it can be taken off.
Okay, parody, once they're dead, it doesn't matter whether the mask is taken off or not.
But there's no guarantee they will just die. Eren can protect them without killing them.
Can you
just, he has the rumbling for defense. He doesn't have to kill everyone.
I've already seen inside your soul, brother. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to tsundere your way out of this. Enough said, guys, on this topic, because we already got it. We this is a ladies and gentlemen, we got a moment. So
I actually scanned something twice. I'm just going to go to. Okay.
Whatever
I mean, Kamui, we know.
We can agree to disagree.
Kamui.
Yeah, I agree. We all know. Yeah, we all know. I agree. All right, we can move on.
No, you don't know.
Yeah, no,
you
I know.
Confused and lost in the sauce, sir. Get out now.
Should we move on to pain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think the pain arc is good or bad?
Kamui, you set the context. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, we'll just start with the basic question. Do you think the pain arc is good or bad?
That's great. It's not just good. It's fucking.
That's all I needed.
Honestly, is it like one of your favorite arcs?
Do you think it's best arc, top 3? Anything in particular?
I haven't really ranked my favorite. All I know is my favorite is the war arc. Pain arc would be up there, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I like it more than the tuning exams? Do I like it more than the Kage Summit? I don't know. They're all on a similar level, and I don't really like to rank. Like, I can.
You just like them all a lot.
Yeah, I like them all a lot. Like, I can confidently say the war arc is my favorite arc, but below that, literally right below that, it's like there's like I love the Chunin exams, kind of equivocally to like the Kage Summit, but that's also kind of equivocally with the Pain arc, and that's also kind of, but even like the fated battle between brothers is pretty close. It's like all very
No, I got you.
yeah.
Do you have anything negative to say about it?
The Pain arc.
Something you would like to change to make
Like
like
you're
people
just like, man,
understand
that's
it better?
the one thing I hated about it. Like there's one thing that really irks you or anything?
I mean, I would probably have more to say on the war arc on that than the Pain arc. For in all honesty, I think the Pain arc, in terms of like the little bitty things that I'd like to be a little bit different, there's like nothing really.
Yeah, so if it's anything, it's extremely minor, basically nothing major. Like you're really like, oh, I wish that was different.
No, yeah, for the Pain arc, no.
Perfect. So you 100,000,000% were on our side and not Oodie's yet again. I had a feeling this was gonna happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have more on that topic. I would have more to say on the war arc, but not
yeah. So
ironically, because the war arc is my favorite arc.
Yeah, I really like the war arc too.
We were thinking
the war
about
arc stressed me out. It was a lot of drama going on.
The war arc is just long, and because of that, there's more room for peaks and lows. Like because of how ridiculously long it is, it's easier to find one place where you're like, okay, I want to change that. It's a short arc.
It's not necessarily that. It's like there's some tweaks in dialogue. Literally, just it's very minor shit. Like some tweaks in dialogue to make certain lines not sound as cringe. But that's more of a stylistic thing for me and personally. Like for instance, I was just watching an AJ stream. Like I was watching his live reaction, where it was Gara talking about Sasuke. Like, Sasuke, you're still lost in the darkness, but even in your stance, there's like maybe some gleam of light you can see. And Sasuke has, a really interesting retort. He says something along the lines of like, "My eyes have been closed for a long time. All I can see is darkness." That's like a really cool line. But
I love that.
Yeah, I love that back and forth. But right after that, what is the fucking line? I think something like says that like. That Gara just reiterates Sasuke being in the darkness, but he's like, Sasuke, or no, he says like, the power of darkness is truly immense, or something like that. And it's like, bro, it sounds like a fucking like one-off Kingdom Hearts line. Like it's like out of that really nuanced dialogue that has a lot of like symbolic flair, to go from that to go like, oh my god, the power of darkness is like really like it kind of like it gives me some whiplash. So
it kind of reminds me of the whole like Mihawk and like Zoro fight in the what I can't remember when they like first face off. Like there's a lot of like one-liners in there. That's what it kind of reminds me of, but like not to that extreme.
There's a lot. Oh wait, no, I mean like, are you referring to like Mihawk's line, like little frog in the well, know how big the world is? You're referring to that?
and like
that's actually
what is he
so goated though. Wait, that is literally like essentially like, to me anyway, like a one-to-one on like what I was just talking about, how Gara says like Gara's giving a cool metaphor and Sasuke replies with his own really cool metaphor. That's like exactly what Mihawk's doing. Mihawk's saying, little frog in the well, know how big the world is. What he's essentially saying is, you've been born and bred in the East Blue, not only the weakest sea out of the four blues, but you haven't even seen the Grand Line, much less the New World. You are a frog in the well that hasn't experienced enough to be able to even come close to me. So go out into the ocean, essentially, right? Like, don't come to me after still being a little frog in the well. You should have come to me after at least experiencing more of the world. That's what it's so cool. It's such a goated line. So I disagree. That's completely different than a line from Gara saying like, the power of darkness is immense. Like, you don't need that line after like that back and forth, because we get it.
But what I mean is, it's just like,
I don't remember the line, probably because it was pointless, but
what I mean is, it's just like those little one-liners after one-liners after one-liners. Like what does Zoro say? Like, something about like scars on a man's back. Like,
oh, our swordsman's shame. Yeah, but that's like, but again, that's like that calls to something. What does it call to? It calls to a swordsman honor, that he'll never run away from a fight,
right,
and he will accept his defeat. Even if it means and again, it's even if it means death. It's a
right?
foolish
Yeah.
decision, but it's what makes Zoro Zoro. He stands his ground and he shows his torso. He shows his front torso because he would rather die than run away and never be able to face Mihawk as a coward again, right? Like, because if he had run away from that moment and not face that slash to the front, even if he escaped, well, not only would he not be able to escape Mihawk, but even if he did, he would never be able to face Mihawk again, right?
Right.
So it wouldn't matter whether he would be alive or dead at that point. His dream would be crushed no matter what. So again, it calls to so much more. It's like that you know, quote unquote one-liner calls to a lot of really cool shit. That's why I think it's more than that. It's a lot
different.
more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I just like, I don't know. I just found it like super cheesy, I guess, in the moment. Like as I was watching the anime, because like I guess in the anime, like that kind of section is just like feels like so long and drawn out. And, like hearing all the one-liners, like oh my god, it's so cheesy. And I guess like me being a girl, I'm just like I don't get all this like male honor and like this like throwing your life away or being like really reckless with your life. I'm like it's
yeah.
so dumb.
Well,
like
wait, but again, Sanji even Sanji vocal, like it's not like Oda's unaware of how dumb. Like Sanji literally says like you fool, like
Yeah,
discarding
right.
your life over a dream, how foolish. And that calls to something on Sanji too. Why does he feel that way? I wonder. And it's like it's really cool because it's saying so much, because it's not just Zoro giving a one-liner. It says so much about who he is and why he can't, because again, it's multi-layered. It's like, well, his dream would die anyway. Like he, whether he's dead or alive wouldn't matter, because if his dream is crushed, well, that's not a life worth living as far as he's concerned. Whereas Sanji is saying, well, no, even if you run away from that dream, life in of itself is still, just the existence of life is just precious enough to carry on even with a crushed dream. And again, it's like two perspectives clashing.
Yeah.
So
And-
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, and that does make sense, and like I totally get where you're coming from, but like I guess in the moment I'm just like, ugh.
It just didn't like
But
vibe with you. It's like
yeah,
Yeah.
it just
he's
wasn't a
looking
vibe.
at like a kind of like a thematic narrative standpoint, but for you, you're still like, I don't want to like, I wouldn't date that guy kind of thing. Like, like
Not like dating, but more like, and Zoro's just kind of like frustrating, I guess, because like then when they're on that island with like the dinosaurs and like the giants and shit, like he's just like, I'm just gonna cut my legs off. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, oh god, so stressful.
He won't be impeded. Okay, he's got a goal to complete, and he'll do it without feet if necessary. Okay.
Oh, and then he like throws that sword, and then because he's showing that like to me it's like he's showing that like he's like he's in control of his own fate, like his own destiny. He's gonna take charge of his own life, and he like throws a sword in the air and like and because he's gonna use like a cursed blade, right? Like throws a sword up in the air, and everybody's like, oh my god, and like doesn't cut him. I'm like, oh, like you're so frustrating. Oh my god. Like I know you're like 17, but Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's just kind of how I.
Zoro is 19 pre-time skip.
He's 19. I thought he was like 17. Oops.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, the two 19-year-olds are Zoro and Sanji. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're 2 years older than Luffy. Usopp is the same. Usopp is 17 and Luffy's 17. Nami is 1 year older. She's 18. I don't know if you've gotten to any more people in the crew yet. So.
And then like Vivi, I can't remember how old Vivi is.
Vivi's 16, pre-time.
Oh, okay.
She's 16. Yeah, so she's pretty young. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, Zoro as a character just kind of frustrates me a little bit. But like, but I do. Yeah, I'm excited to see where he goes, because like I've heard some things. So yeah, I'm excited to see where his character goes. But like, he is frustrating. It's like too much like male testosterone, like kind of shit. I feel like
he's a himbo.
He's a himbo. Yes, he's a himbo.
He is a misogynist. So we'll see where that goes.
Oh yeah. That's what that's what Sarah was saying. So it's kind of funny you said that. So yeah.
He actively looks down on women. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I don't know if he because like especially after. Well, I don't know how much you know about one. Do you know who Big Mom is? Do you know that character?
No.
Okay, never mind. I don't want to say anything then. I don't know how much you care about like little bitty hints or not. So I don't.
Like I said, I probably won't remember. Like on this podcast, we had Jess. She's a Twitch streamer, and like she's really into One Piece, and they were talking about it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna remember all these details. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
so
I was just gonna say because like he's probably not really thinking women like are generally going to be weaker after going against Big Mom, and because she's like one of the most powerful characters in the verse, and she's a woman, and you know he was unfortunately faced up against her at one point and got eviscerated. So
oof, rip. Oh
yeah,
well.
maybe this is the come up arc for Zoro here soon. And you know, there's plenty of people that have theorized that like he is going to be confronted maybe with that sort of mindset he had earlier on in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Seemingly, well, not even earlier on, post time skip too. You see it with Monet, but you won't get to that for a long time. So
Yeah.
we'll see what goes on with Zoro and women.
Okay. Yeah. Like
Sanji had his Woolman arc, so we'll see if we get the same thing from Zoro.
Oh, and then like Sour was like was saying that he's racist, I guess, because he always fights like black people or something.
Yeah, he always fights darker skinned people, and it's just very funny. Especially in his last fight, because there was a lot of emphasis on the character's race of the guy that Zoro was fighting, and he happened to be also dark skinned. So
oh my god, oh no.
Yeah. People call him N-word Slayer Zoro. That's like his
oh my god.
That's what people in the community call him, and it's so funny. Oh, and then to make it even funnier, like it's like Oda's part of the meme in an SBS he did, which is just like a question and answer section Oda does a lot. He had Zoro's occupation. If Zoro lived in real life, Zoro's occupation would be he'd be a cop. So that every time Oda adds something sus to Zoro's character, it just like feeds the Zoro's racist allegations.
Just digging his own grave. Dang.
It's so funny. So funny.
Man, I knew something was up with Zoro, man. I knew I didn't like him. I knew he was fishy. Just saying.
Yeah, what did he say? I gotta find my tweet because he said something in literally the current arc we're still on. And I was like, wait, character development? I like screenshot it and tweeted it. I was like, wait, this might be, guys. Is Zoro like gonna not be racist here soon? I don't remember what did he say.
Oh my god, I saw. Yeah, I was. I don't think I follow you on Twitter, but like, I saw. I guess there was a new One Piece episode that came out. And that's the one I was talking about where like Sanji and Zoro are like fighting each other, and I was like, oh, I don't know, it looked like flirting to me, lol.
No, I mean it is kind of their way. Well, no, literally in this scene. So before they fought, like this woman is literally telling Zoro, "Hey Zoro, I like cared for you and like nurtured you this entire time. While like notice me." And Zoro literally ignores her and then looks at Sanji and goes, "Oh yeah. That promise we made back like before I got knocked out." He's like, "That's why I'm still alive. I came back from hell to fulfill my promise to you." And like, you know, like he takes out his swords and Sanji's like, no, that doesn't matter anymore. And he's like, no, and then they start fighting.
Oh my god.
So yeah, literally ignoring the woman for his true love, Sanji. He's got to fulfill that promise no matter what.
Of course, you know, bromance, bros before hoes. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it is romance. True.
True love right there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of true love, we can get back to Naruto again. Now that Oodie's back.
Before we, hold on, wait. Okay, I did have one One Piece related question for you. Okay, so since none of us here have seen One Piece, right, Cam?
I've seen One Piece.
Okay,
I love One Piece.
Since none of us here have seen One Piece, I don't want to use the excuse or justification that it's too long, or I don't like the art style, or it's too goofy.
That's what I said.
So we haven't seen One Piece, me and Kamui, but we're diehard Naruto fans. I want to hear your elaboration for why you think One Piece is good, that we should give it a chance as Naruto fans.
damn, you guys never asked for my elaboration, but okay, I'll just go fuck off then.
Yeah, literally, Cam is the person that like had most negative things to say about it before she started it. She's a big Naruto fan too.
Yeah,
But I guess because I'm new on the podcast, I guess, right? Because I'm the guest. I'm the YouTuber guy, so you got to ask me everything.
Yeah.
of course.
What would my pitch be to Naruto fans? I think the best pitch you can give. Naruto has like really guttural, emotional scenes that really get to you. Like for me, the most impactfully emotional scenes, for instance, there's like the flashback with Kushina and Minato, and the dialogue between Kushina and Naruto. Like that stuff is just so beautiful. It really just makes you feel like, oh my god, this like truly depicts like some of the most beautiful things that like humanity can give us. And like these storytellers are so, like this storyteller Kishimoto, perfectly depicting it. One Piece has a plethora of moments that parallel Naruto in that aspect of like you see
That would
these
be a
like,
great selling point for me.
these there are these like especially rooted in One Piece's flashbacks. There are these scenes that really just grab your heart, and you're just like, oh my fuck, like this is so beautiful.
I mean, I have bawled. Like I have literally just cried, and Sour's like, you were so freaking emotional. Oh my god. I'm like, hold on, I just need to blow my nose for a minute.
That's actually a really good selling point for me, not gonna lie, because I've said before that like comparing Naruto to Boruto, what you just described about One Piece and Naruto, I think Naruto slams Boruto out of the park in that regard.
Unfortunately, yes. Boruto, I have defended it thematically, and I almost want to avoid saying narratively, but it is just true. From like story development to like we're breaking down each individual scene. Boruto is just like a obvious substantial step down from everything Naruto was. The only thing really I think Boruto has for me, like I'm caught up with Two Blue Vortex, and I think all of the chapters thus far have been not like, if not bad, just not very good. Like I don't I don't care for anything we've gotten of Two Blue Vortex thus far. But again, maybe it'll shape up. But like even compared to like the sort of like slow burn intro of like Shippuden, like it just was so much more like there was so much more emotion there.
Okay, dude, I'm loving you right now. Okay, so like something I've always said that I think Naruto is just so much more emotional. It hits you in the feels. Now there are moments in Boruto where this happens. I think a good scene was like the countdown scene with Kawaki and the Jigen thing, or Naruto talking to Kurama in the anime, for example. Good examples, but generally speaking, it's not as much there. I think Boruto is really interesting. That's the thing for me, at least. Like, I'm interested in mysteries. Amato is like my dude for this. I love how mysterious he is. Things like that carry for me, but when it comes to like emotional storytelling, blah blah blah, it is not remotely there by comparison to me. There's other things too. I just generally do think Naruto is straight up better, almost every way. But I do think Boruto's interesting.
To be fair though, I think it's unfair to compare like, you know, Boruto's entrance into Konoha to like the start of Shippuden, because like the context, the tone, everything is so much different. I think it's far more fair to compare it to something like Naruto arriving after the pain destruction shit. I think it's more fair to compare it to that. Obviously, the circumstances are way different, but a lot of the intrigue, there's just not a lot of intrigue with the Boruto stuff. The intrigue, again, it lacks so much emotional weight. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was Kishimoto truly like in his A game, he would have done the same thing he did, and where Naruto comes in, it's super badass. It's like, oh my god, he's grown so much. But what do we get? What do we get like immediately? Naruto asks a simple question. He says, you know, Granny, I can't sense, you know, in this mode, I'm like super powerful. I'm like super epic. But there's a caveat here. Because he's super epic, he can sense that Kakashi, he can't feel his presence. And he asks that simple question. And Tsunade is just silent. And then Naruto he has to swallow it because there's an enemy.
So
he's
good.
like, okay.
So good.
It's just so emotionally resonant. And it's just so, and there's so, again, mind you, because there's so much here that you can, a simple scene like that is so, it's ripe for the picking. In this new chapter, what do we get? They had their chance. Kishimoto, they had their chance. Who walks up? Fucking Himawari. You can so easily do something cooler than just Boruto going Himawari. And then back to like, you know, just like, oh, okay, you gotta still, again, Boruto is not like, even Two Polar Vortex, there's a lot of cool shit that's probably gonna happen, but it's like, even comparing it to like a similar type of like bombastic entry to like Naruto back in Shippuden versus Pain, it's like, I feel like it's like a night and day difference at like tugging at your emotional heartstrings, right?
I'm so glad you made that comparison with the Naruto arriving to Konoha scene and the Pain arc. When the thing with Kakashi's death, I was going to mention that if you weren't, after you made that comparison, as well as the slow burn of Shippuden. Even though it was a slow burn, it was still emotionally resonant. We still had
By the way, I have
example.
another perfect example for that too. The scene where it's like, oh, Gaara's the Kazekage, and Naruto's like, Gaara's the Kazekage, and then like, you're like, oh, how's Naruto gonna react? And he goes, you know, like, great for him. I'm gonna become Hokage too. Like, and it's just like, oh wow, such a cool perspective that like, because again, just like the last line, it's very simple response, but there's so much context behind it. Because what's going through Naruto's mind? Why would he respond like that? It's because he sees Gaara as essentially the same person he was. And if Gaara can do it, Gaara went from that to that, and Gaara was even in a worse place than Naruto was, coming from nothing, then Naruto has nothing to complain about. He's been on the back foot for a while, and you know he lost against Sasuke, but he's got nothing to complain about. Gaara made it. That means he can make it too. And Gaara started out on a way worse note than Naruto did. So by damn it, like I can do it too. And it's like Naruto could have easily been like, oh damn, Gaara, like I had a head start and Gaara got there first. He could have easily taken it like that, but instead he sees it like, oh, if Gaara can do
it. That's how Sasuke would have taken it too, probably, by comparison.
Oh, is that, yeah, it's like if Sasuke was looking at Naruto like that, he'd been like, you know, I got the head start and he still beat me out. Yeah. That's how Sasuke would have taken it, for sure. Yeah.
I'll concede that there's a lot of emotionally significant moments in Boruto Part 1, starting with, even in the tuning exams, you have Boruto telling Naruto when he's caught cheating, well, if you had just listened to me from the start, none of this would have ever happened. That's like a blow-up of an emotional significance. You have Kawaki dropping the flower vase in Ino's shop and Naruto hugging him. That hits on a core intrinsic level. You have Ishiki telling Konohamaru, to be fair, this is filler, but why do Shinobi face me knowing they will die? That's a pain level line. And then obviously Kamui mentioned a few other things like Ishiki's countdown. It hits so hard.
Yeah, it's so like,
but all of this doesn't matter because it's not telling one
you're
full
mentioning
story.
Why these are like the best two arcs in Boruto, at least for me, the Kawaki arc and the first arc with Momoshiki. Those arcs have the most of these, but compared to Naruto though, if Boruto had like 50 emotional scenes, I feel like Naruto had like 300. I just feel like it has so many more.
Yeah.
And the best of the best in Naruto, I do think beats the best of the best in Boruto. In terms of like emotional scenes.
In Boruto, it doesn't.
It feels like Boruto's more of like a spectacle, kind of like a big like a big blow up kind of like fights.
Boruto just has
like
things happen, whereas Naruto drives the narrative forward with their events. Boruto, it takes a step back to breathe, which can be good, but it doesn't focus on the characters in those moments. They just do the things, and then they just move on. It just doesn't work. But then, okay, you can actually compare Boruto to Naruto, because Boruto Part 1, if you take the page count, you compare to Naruto Part 1, it's like 90% of the way there.
Boruto Part 1's longer.
Okay, there you go.
I'm pretty sure I did the math and it was longer.
You can
it was
literally
280
compare
pages
those
instead
two.
of 238, I think. If I remember right.
Naruto, not only does it tell a full story in part 1 compared to Boruto, which tells an incomplete story, it just literally leaves
Oodie,
off
before
like
you
at
get
the
into
time
that,
skip.
don't elaborate, because I want to ask Hot Boy about
that's fine,
that.
that's fine. But not only that, but the story of part 1 just feels more resonant, as if it stands alone. You can just watch that, and you don't have to watch Shippuden, and you can be satisfied. You can't do that with Boruto Part 1, because...
no way in hell. No way in hell.
I would say with Naruto losing to Sasuke, you would
Girl,
not
why?
be satisfied with that, but I do get
No
what
man
you're
is
saying.
not cooking right now.
Oh, okay. I think you see what I
okay.
mean at the very least.
Okay,
It
well,
tells a
I might
story
as well
from
just ask
page
this
1 to the
now.
final page, whereas Boruto, it tells different stories all in conglomeration of one story.
I cannot.
Okay, hold on. All right, before we hate on Oodie real quick, Hot Boy, I wanted to ask you this. Okay, this is, hopefully you just don't know our opinions on this. It's kind of a meme on this channel at this point, but what are your thoughts about the prophecy arc, the last arc of Boruto Part 1, and even more specifically, the ending, when the time skip happened, just generally the last arc in general, specifically the ending though. Just give us your unfiltered
when you
thoughts.
say prophecy, you're gonna have to elaborate. Sorry.
Like the final arc.
Momoshiki's prophecy. A lot of people call it the prophecy arc. Just the last arc.
Okay. Yeah, Momoshiki, what like he saw.
Yeah, the last arc. Part. What are your thoughts?
Well, just the last arc, not the prophecy in general, just the last arc.
Yeah, like the end of the arc, like specifically the end of the arc, but the whole arc in general, if you want. Just give us unfiltered thoughts.
I would honestly, to give a more substantial answer, I would have to reread. But all I'll say is I enjoyed it for the most part.
Did you have any opinions about the ending or when the time skip happened?
No, I thought it was fine. I think given the revelations we were getting, and given that Boruto has been shaping up to be definitely a smaller scale story than not. Well, when I say scale, I mean I'm talking about just in length. I thought it was fine.
Well, I'm surprised.
Yeah, there's okay. So me and Kamui, we don't like it.
We have a lot of hatred
for a lot of
last arc. The ending, when it ended.
Okay, good. We can talk about that in 2 seconds. I'm gonna pee real quick. Be right back.
Okay.
So how did it go from the pain arc to One Piece? I guess what happened there?
So, I was setting up something.
I made a comparison.
Oodie started talking about so he started talking about the war arc, and he eventually got into the topic of a conversation between Sasuke and Gaara, and then Cam made a comparison to something Zoro says, and that's what led into the One Piece discussion.
Interesting.
My fault.
Okay.
But he said we could talk about One Piece a little bit, so there you go. I got what I wanted. You loser.
I'm like, why can I
let me have what I want
without interrupting?
yeah. Let Cam have her moment of fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Where neither of us could have talked.
Yes. Silence.
There was another Madara point I had, but at this point we've already moved on, so I don't want to go back. Well, maybe later.
I don't want to go back either.
Let's move on. Yeah, let's save that for another time. I think we've done enough Obito and Madara. I do want to do more of the pain arc.
Agreed.
I mean, just for reference, he Cam really. We were trying to really get him to see if there's anything he really disliked about the pain arc. There was nothing. I was even like, is there a single thing you would change?
He said no.
Man, so he thinks Buddha Fuda is just perfect? That's crazy.
What?
But nothing but what is bad about Buddha Fuda? Nothing irks you about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the moral was there wasn't anything he seemed to hate about it. He really likes it. He didn't have it as his favorite arc. Work is his favorite, but he has it up there. He doesn't have a ranking, he said, but generally he likes it a lot. It's one of his favorite arcs at least.
Yeah, if anything, he would change some things about the war arc. So.
Yeah, and I asked is there even if you're just gonna change something, it would just be
minor changes.
Okay. Literally just like autistic. Ooh, I want to tweak that little sentence a little bit. So sound a little bit less on the nose.
Yeah.
That. That's
nothing.
A lot of it. And then some of the obviously the outrageous power inconsistencies, like the chakra stuff, the unlimited, distinctly unlimited chakra everyone has, which I care less about than a lot of other people, but I do acknowledge there's a lot of inconsistencies with that, and that mechanic of the world, it does make it more believable. and make it more grounded when you stay consistent with stuff like that. I'm writing a story that has my own world, and I think constantly about that, staying consistent, to keep people immersed in the story, not and not unimmersing them because they're like, wait, like, isn't this like the same guy who like would use Kamui like 2 times and then like die essentially? Like, so yeah, just little bitty things, nothing too bad, but like the arc as a whole, the structure of it, every significant thing that happens, I would never change. No.
Yeah, we're here for like the narrative.
Before we get to that though, Oodie, did we want to talk about the time skip stuff first?
Yes, but I did want to say my thing based on what he said really quick. Yeah, we're here for the narrative, which is like rooted in psychology, objective science, compared to like the spectacle of the cool stuff that happens that activate the monkey brain. We're here for the thing that actually matters in the storytelling. So yeah. But okay.
Sure, I mean, a lot of people would say like the mechanics staying consistent matters a lot in fantasy storytelling.
It's a spin-off thing. It does matter, but it's not the priority. If that's perfect and the story sucks, then it doesn't matter if it's perfect.
Yeah. But like,
for it to matter.
Yeah, but when I'm like reading like fantasy novels, for example, and like there are some like power inconsistencies,
it's gonna annoy you.
Like it takes you out of the story.
It breaks the.
I'm like, well, yeah, and I'm like, well, pause. Like this guy couldn't do this before, or I thought there was like a power block, or like I thought she couldn't transform into this. Now all of a sudden, why can she? Like, and then at this point, you're like 7 books in, and it's just like, yeah,
but that's aside from the narrative,
just doesn't work,
in my opinion.
But still, it like breaks you out of the immersion, so you would.
I agree.
It still matters.
No, it does matter.
And at that point, it can ruin the whole series for a person.
Sorry.
Wrong people, but yeah.
Like I was gonna say, there are some like fantasy novels that I have read that I'm like, I hate this now. I can't believe I wasted like 11 books over the years, like on.
I do think it depends on like the story, like the type of thing it is. So, for example, in SpongeBob, if SpongeBob is a very inconsistent power feats, it's not gonna ruin it for anyone because that's just not remotely like important to the plot or story. You know what I mean? Like,
it's SpongeBob.
It depends on if it is integral to the plot, the story. Like, if it's related, then it's gonna matter more than if it's just like some random goofy thing.
Bro, you should have chosen a series that has an ongoing story instead of freaking SpongeBob. You should have chosen Death Note.
Okay. Let's be fair. We do have Twilight, for example, that does have some power inconsistencies at the end with Bella.
Okay.
And Edward. Okay.
Twilight has a terrible narrative.
And it ruins the story for some people. Okay. It doesn't. So I'm just saying.
Fair. I mean, like, while I would disagree, like, if it breaks your immersion to the point where it's like, if you're immersed, I mean, it probably does feel bad for a lot of people if they're literally just super immersed in the story and the world for so long, only for it to break where it matters most to stay immersed. I mean, I can empathize with that.
Yeah, it sucks for the people.
I mean, that's
just
my opinion. That's just one example. But when it comes to manga, it's just different. Like if there's like a break in the power system, I'm like, I don't know. When it comes to manga, like power systems are just so like different versus the novels, and I'm just like, I don't care. Like, like it doesn't really break my immersion any if it's like different, I guess.
Yeah, I think people are overly reliant on their emotions, and their emotions are flawed. So their perception of the story can be flawed.
Okay, not all of us are autistic, okay, and can like think like logically all the time,
I am artistic. I agree. All right, we can move on.
Anyway, let's do the time skip discussion, then we can finally come back to the paid arc. Because Hot Boy, do you still want to leave at like midnight or something? You said.
Yeah, okay. That's the latest.
We'll try to get through these two at least, because these were two of the bigger things. Well, one of them just came out. All right, so Oodie, do you want to start, I guess, with your
we'll just
points?
start with like the lesser things and work up to the bigger things. So first of all, there's a lot of loose ends, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Like there's just things that we didn't get resolved. Like we didn't see Himawari's reaction before the time skip. So if Two Blue Vortex doesn't exist, well, that's a different series. it's not like Naruto, where Shippuden divided at the anime and the manga continued on to tell one full story. Boruto Part 1...
I think this is like arbitrary as fuck.
No, I agree.
I
like,
mean,
we're starting with like the small
that
things.
aspect, to me, it's more so just like, it's a missed opportunity to be, in this case, reactive, show her reaction 3 years later versus proactive, show it immediately, set the tone before the time skip for what she's going to do and why because of what happened. I find that to be a big missed opportunity for Himawari. I
kind of like what Sakura does, you know?
20-minute video about the whole time skip thing. But if you make a lot of comparisons for Himawari to Sakura, it's like, imagine if Sakura just doesn't know that Sasuke left the village. Because in Himawari's case, she doesn't know anything about the Boruto and Kawaki situation.
Well, no.
Doesn't know the Kawaki still the way her parents. She doesn't know
no.
that they were fighting or anything.
And
if Sakura removes Sakura's reaction at the end of part 1, he learns that Naruto didn't do it, and her conversation, like, remove that or do it after the time skip. It doesn't hit the same.
So I actually completely disagree with this, because I think it's just, you cannot compare Sakura's case to Himawari's, because we don't need to see Himawari's reaction pre-time skip. Why? Because it's
she's not a main character.
Well, it's not because she's a main character, it's because we already know it. Himawari would see Kawaki as, you know, as how they saw Boruto, just like everyone else. But we already know how she's like. We already know, but no. We already know how she's been feeling. We don't need to see that pre-time skip. It's that, oh, while I see Kawaki as like as I would Boruto, there's still something that tells me like I want to help Boruto.
But would you? That's not really the thing. What I meant was more so, would you want to see her reaction to someone saying, "Himawari, Kawaki killed your parents"? Would you want to see her reaction to that? Someone saying that.
You mean like Boruto killed your parents?
Oh, sorry, Boruto in this case. Yeah. Would you want to see?
Yeah. No. I mean, like that specific example. Sure. Yes, that could have amplified. That specific
her reaction to the event.
Yeah. That specific example you just gave, like, hey. Like her figuring out that revelation in real time, yeah, that probably would have amplified her presence. Yeah, for sure, it could have helped her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like a missed opportunity. Let's say she meets up with Kawaki, she's trying to defend him, and Shikamaru's like, Himawari, Boruto, like, this dude killed your parents, and like just seeing that initial reaction, I think would have been cool.
That's
sure,
just
but then again,
I
mean, again, this is why I hate talking too soon. We could get, because it seems like we're getting more Himawari focused the more we go on. So it could be we'll get a little flashback. We could even get that.
And we definitely
but that's not in Boruto Part 1. That's a flashback in Part 2.
And also, this is a me thing at least.
Yeah, but
there's a different type of flashback you can have. Like in that case, that's skipping over an event to show it as a flashback versus a flashback of something that happened before the series, which would never happen in the present, or a flashback to something that literally happened and it's a reminder. This happened, it's important, remember it. There's a difference. Skipping over Himawari's reaction, then showing it in a flashback will never hit the same to me as seeing it in the present.
In this case, it's irrelevant whether we saw it in real time in the manga or not, because we're still seeing it. We're still getting more focus on Himawari. If the problem is getting more emphasis on Himawari as a missed moment, it's not really a missed moment if we end up getting to see it anyway. You can't really call it.
If we shot the Sasuke retrieval arc as a flashback instead of in real time, we knew the end result.
These are incomparable. These are just like, that's not even close.
But it's the same concept.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Well, we know the end result.
Arc of the Sasuke retrieval. The entire
just
arc?
Sakura's reaction. We skip over and get that in a flashback.
No, it's not the same, because again, there's more writing on Sakura's reaction, way more writing on it, rather than Himawari's.
We don't know necessarily. Like you said, we could get more with Himawari where that is important. But the concept, I'm just using the examples to illustrate the point of, would you prefer it in a flashback?
Because there's more writing on it, because we, as an author, Kishimoto gave us a promise that Sakura would see the end of the promise Naruto made to her. That was a twofold promise. It was not just Naruto making a promise to Sakura, but it was a promise to us that Kishimoto would deliver on that and give us Sakura reacting to whatever the end result is. With Himawari, she's one of many. right? She's one of many that are getting transformed by this change. Sure, it's her parents, but again, it doesn't change whether we get to see her reaction there or not, because we're already seeing a glimpse of that anyway, like how she still feels, given we know that she knows. We know that she knows, or she thinks. It's not necessarily that she knows, right? Because what is Ada's ability called? It's irrelevant. But anyway, whatever.
Omnipotence.
Yeah, omnipotence. We know that because of that, the roles are reversed. So it's not really that Boruto killed him, but everyone's going to believe it. We know that she still wants to help him. So that already is informing us. But again, like, there was so much more writing on the Sakura stuff, in that
I agree. The Sakura thing is more.
there was a
important. It's just the
real-time
only
promise
comparison to
made,
me.
right? There's like a real-time promise made, and that needed to be addressed also in real time, I think.
And we didn't get anything addressed in real time. He's just promising it for later. The difference here, though, is that we're getting a lot of things promised that aren't being delivered. For example, we were promised that Boruto was going to despair in this last arc. He didn't
I
do
was
that.
going to say the prophecy is the biggest one.
We promised for 5 years everything's going to be taken away from Boruto, and Boruto's going to despair, then Momoshiki's going to take over. That didn't happen at all.
No, wait,
Boruto just
no,
said,
that's
"You're
like, wait,
wrong. I didn't lose
this is
everything."
so dumb.
So Boruto never lost everything.
You're assuming that Momoshiki's not assuming. Does that make sense?
But it's
You're
still being
assuming that-
promised.
You're assuming that Momoshiki, what he's doing is literally seeing the future, and that doesn't seem to be the case at all.
But
Momoshiki
it would
is
be
gonna show
at
that-
least as much of a promise as Naruto saying, "I'm gonna bring Sasuke back."
No,
He
no,
literally is seeing a future
no. Momoshiki's, because no. Naruto's promise is clear. It's that my intentions are to bring Sasuke's back. Momoshiki's are not close to clear. He's saying, like, you will despair. He doesn't say, like, who's going to make you despair, what's going to make you despair, why would you even despair in the first place. It's obvious Momoshiki doesn't actually see the future, but he knows about Ada, and he knows about this shit, and therefore he can see it coming, and he can see it taking effect in Boruto. He probably didn't see the future. He
did see some of the future, because we also saw it too.
He literally saw memory. Boruto.
Oh,
saw
true. Yeah,
Momoshiki's
he did. He
memory
did
flashbacks.
literally.
Like, he saw the future of Boruto losing everything, and supposedly Boruto, we only got to see part of it, because Momoshiki says you saw part of the tableau I saw. So there was more that we didn't get to see that Momoshiki saw. But ignoring that, Momoshiki promised, you will, in fact, your blue eyes are going to take everything from you, and you will despair. And when that comes, I'm going to take over.
So we already
But
knew
Boruto,
I guess
his
it's
own
kinda
admission,
like-
never lost.
It was promised to be now.
Then again, who's to say that that's not gonna then that's not still coming to fruition?
I
But it's not.
guess
That's
it's
what my
kind of
hope
like
is.
a
That's my
promise
hope.
coming from like a fortune teller, right? Almost like it's kind of like vague, mysterious kind of shit.
Well, no,
Like,
but like, okay, but hypothetically, if he could literally see the future, who's to say that that future hasn't just been completely enacted yet? When Momoshiki says, like, oh, it's beginning now, because that's like literally the beginning of the end. Is the stuff that, like, this is gonna be the spark that ignites a series of events that will eventually lead to Boruto actually losing it all.
So
And-
this is my hope/theory, assuming it will be good. That is my hope/theory. But as it is, I can't use like the theory for that right now. The main thing, at least for me, is like,
Well, this is the problem.
Momoshiki doesn't really
talking about
comment
your-
on what changed specifically. It's just, we know, like, he says, this wasn't supposed to go like this, but we don't know whether the future was different, or if Momoshiki just assumed Boruto's going to despair over people being angry at him, because all Boruto says is, I never lost everything, you're wrong.
Because we don't even know the extent of like his future telling abilities, because right now all we know is like he could see glimpses of the future. Maybe he can only see little glimpses, or maybe even if like he can see the entire future, that probably just means that full scope of that future hasn't happened yet.
And
Which
yeah,
would
so
actually- which
now
would
this
actually
is
be
a small
cool.
thing, I will admit. It was probably a drawing retcon, but it pisses me off nonetheless.
It's
We get in the
probably
future
not
vision.
like again, like you.
No,
I
no, no,
think-
like the,
I think
like,
most
we get
weekly
this
readers are a
future
little
vision
bit
scene
too.
of Kawaki with his horn, blood on his face, looking down on Boruto. We were promised that scene to happen. It was a future vision. It never, ever
Wait,
happened.
didn't that literally happen though when Kawaki
No,
pulled
we
through
never
Boruto?
got that actual scene. We got what may have been a drawing retcon where the blood was removed, the horde was removed, and the arm looks different. And there's now dialogue when there wasn't. But it's not, that's why I said it might be a drawing retcon. We never actually got that scene. And Momoshiki nor Boruto never comments on the fact that that scene never happened. We just have to assume Ikimoto retconned his drawing because it's not the same scene.
I mean, to me, that if that's the case, that's so minor. I don't care because like essentially the same scenario happened.
I mean, for me, it annoys me because why not just draw your own drawing? But
again, because maybe he has second thoughts about like how Kawaki's power manifests and stuff like that. And, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common for manga,
very
especially with
common.
weekly and monthly. Yeah,
You
I'm
see it a lot.
completely
in
fine
long-run
with
shows.
Boruto overcoming the prophecy and overcoming omnipotence. Overcoming it isn't the problem. The problem is it feels like there's nothing to overcome because these don't feel like consequences. We aren't seeing them play out. He's not despairing. He's unfazed. It's like if after Naruto was defeated by Sasuke, if he just didn't care. Like, yeah, we see him say to Sakura, oh, I'll be the fool the rest of my life. He gives her the thumbs up. But we see before that, he is having to deal with the fact that he failed, that he couldn't do this, and that he
who's to say that who's to say that Boruto is not holding it? Because it seems to be like he's taking a page out of Sasuke's book, which is apt because he is Sasuke's student, and that he's keeping it all way down inside. Behind this like new badass cold gaze. Well, let me finish. Behind this new cold gaze he's acquired, it could be that like all of that. I mean, we even see, and that's why I don't hate that I don't necessarily hate that reaction. I would like to see more because it seems like what we're getting now is a more like edgy badass Boruto, possibly because he did take a page out of Sasuke's book, especially the younger Sasuke, and that like a lot of his like emotional resonance is lurking deep down, and he feels like he has to push it down to endure the present. Right?
Yeah, and we only see his like kind of emotional response when like Himawari kind of comes. Then we kind of see
because again he does at least acknowledge her. He does at least acknowledge her.
And that's not an emotional response. That's saying, oh
no, but again it could be again Sasuke did this a lot. Where
yeah,
he would
he did.
Acknowledge people.
Like a subtle change. He did it with Sakura.
Remember the war arc? Like, this is literally what, oh my god, wait, this is crazy. This is actually brain blast. This is exactly what Sasuke did in the war when he first comes to the battlefield. Sakura. Yeah. ... What does Boruto do? Himawari. ... Literally.
Literally. Side by side comparison. Yeah.
So it's like master, like student. I think there's a lot more lurking in there, but Boruto is just not willing to show it right now.
When I say that, though, I mean like the ramifications immediately after, though. He's never phased about it, even immediately after. Like, I'm not talking about Two Blue Vortex 3 years later. I'm talking about immediately after. He's just like, no, Momoshiki, you're wrong. I don't really care. I'll just like overcome it and stuff.
No, but why? But ask yourself who's next to him.
Sasuke. Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Isn't it so funny that when Naruto was at his lowest point against pain, when he was about to lose it all, was it not just one person that came to his aid?
Okay, hang on.
The person that he needed to hear those words the most from.
Even
and
here,
for Boruto, who does he respect most? Who does he admire most? And the person who he needs to hear those words the most from would probably be Sasuke in this instance.
Even if I give that to you, though, that only.
By the way, someone whose comrades eventually did just what Boruto is doing to him. They all turned against him, and then even were planning on killing him. They were all corroborating and planning on killing him, just like Boruto's comrades are doing now. Yet that same man now is here, that has gone through that same experience of being like, at razor's edge, in the darkness, is like here to help Boruto. I think that's so cool. Like, obviously,
to be fair, though, Boruto doesn't know that.
No, to be fair, no. Again, it's just cool. But the crux of my argument, though, is that obviously Boruto's not going to despair if he's got the man he admires most believing in him.
But hang on. Here's that sort of throws us off, but I'm just going to say it anyways. Look at the time between when Omnipotence is cast and before Sasuke arrives. He doesn't have Sasuke by his side. He is alone. So what happens during that time? We see obviously Momoshiki catches him up, as well as the audience. He's speaking to the audience through Momoshiki, through Boruto. So we get that. That's more of like a logic thing, education thing. It's not emotional. But then before Sasuke arrives, he's caught by Ino Shikacho. Again, he's alone. He's despair. He's bleeding out from his eye. This should be his moment of despair. Momoshiki's about to take control of his body. He says he's going to switch with Boruto and to kill them. Boruto's reaction is to say, no, don't, stop. And that's the closest we get to Boruto despairing. He's all alone. The entire world hates him and is trying to kill him. He should be at the most vulnerable state he's ever been in. The most we're getting is stop, and then Sasuke arrives, and then he's able to do what you're saying. I think that scene should have been massively extended. That could have been a whole chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I might completely agree with you. I would have to go back and reread though. Yeah, like
the point is just that he never hits a moment of despair, so it doesn't feel like he overcame anything because, like, there was nothing to overcome. He wasn't ever phased by this. Imagine if Naruto didn't care.
Well, you can't say he
died.
wasn't. No.
He's
You
not
can't
overcoming
say,
it if
you
he
can't
never
say,
came.
you can't say like he literally was saying no, wait, stop, and then in like the same breath say like he wasn't phased by anything. No, you can't say he was obviously phased. You guys' actual contention with it is that it didn't linger on his emotional state, right? Enough to truly emphasize it, and to make us really feel it.
Doesn't feel
to give
like
us an emotional reaction, which I would probably agree with if I reread. I just have to go back and reread to know for sure.
He just never hits rock bottom. The major setback moment never occurs in the story.
No, he does, especially circumstantially. He's hitting rock bottom. But again, I think the actual contention with you guys is that like we don't feel it because we don't linger on it, we don't get enough time with it. I think that's a way stronger argument. You guys should probably stick to that one.
Okay.
Because I would probably agree with that.
Okay. Beyond that, other things with the time skip is the characters never become resolute. We never see their end resolve going into the time skip. The time skip feels arbitrary. In part 1, we see all the characters, not just Naruto. We see the side characters. We see Sakura. We see even Choji and Shino. They train over the time skip. We know what they're doing and we know why they're doing it. Looking at characters in part 1, the last time we see Mitsuki, he's running off into the forest in Sage Mode. That's the last time we see him. Does that feel like a good send-off for his character in Boruto?
These are like incompletely. These are
just never found Boruto
these aren't
somehow,
really
despite the fact he's way past.
Sorry, go ahead.
What was that?
Can you say that again?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, hot boy.
I kind of just like disagree with like trying to like one-to-one compare like these some of these instances. I just think it's like not very fair to Boruto and like the different shit it's doing. I don't think, because again, like these people are like, we don't need to see that because we know their conviction is just like fake, right? Because they literally got they got another form of infinite Tsukiyomi. So it's I don't think it's necessary, because like the convictions at the end of pre-time skip, which some people would argue is like a false promise, given that like a lot of those characters are underutilized by the end of the story. I actually concur with if we're talking about some of the characters, but Shino particularly, especially given like what he had in the Chunin exams and stuff. But I mean, yeah, wasn't his fucking promise literally like at the end of it, like, oh, next time I'm gonna be there in the Sasuke retrieval and like make a difference? And he was.
I don't think he promises it. He was just salty about it.
Well, doesn't he say something along the lines like, next time I'll be there and like, well, it'll be a success?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember for sure.
So some people would argue, and me included, that like, you know, people like Shino are underutilized, and maybe perhaps it's a false promise from Kishimoto, or it is. I shouldn't say perhaps. Yeah. But again, for this story, I don't think it'd be necessary to show them like, oh yes, when Boruto comes back, we'll handle him this time, and he's not going to escape, because we know they're already probably thinking that. Like fucking what's his face? Why am I Mitsuki? Of course, for instance, we don't need to see a scene of him thinking that, because we know he's like thinking that. given the last thing we see of them. And again, it's irrelevant anyway because their mindset has been distorted. Yeah, and so like that conviction already is skewed because it's going against the very person they should be defending. It's just it's not. I don't think it's necessary, given that we already know what they're thinking. All of them unanimously are going to be thinking, "Hey, we need to stop Boruto." Whereas Sakura, it was up in the air. How is she going to react if she hears that Naruto couldn't bring back Sasuke? Is she going to break down? Is she going to be like, it's all right, but then like cry in a corner after she says it's all right with like a false smile? And she doesn't do either of those things because, again, Kishimoto made a promise and he wanted to do something that would surprise us. So what did he have? At the end of it, Sakura would go, you know what, Naruto, it's fine because next time I'll be there too. And, if just you alone couldn't do it, maybe the both of us can, right?
But those are reactions that I can argue we should have seen in Boruto. There's 3 characters I can think of. We should have got Amado's reaction not only to omnipotence, but one of the people leaving that he knows, either Boruto or Kawaki, depending on if it's which. We should have got that. We should have got Sakura reacting to Sasuke's betrayal, and then and that's ironic.
Oh, sure. Oh, hey, dude. Okay, yeah. You're getting. I love when you get specific because all you got to do is get specific, and if I like what I hear, I will agree with you. So that I agree would have probably been better if we lingered more on a lot of these instances. I completely agree. Lingering on Boruto's despair would I think would have been a lot more emotionally resonant. Lingering on Sakura's reaction to the news that not only is Boruto a traitor, but Sasuke is literally going off with him to help the traitor. Like, how is Sakura? Because, like, again, knowing Sasuke's history, how's Sakura going to react to that? Like, that's cool. I agree. That would be cool, emotionally resonant, and we didn't get that. That's a missed opportunity. So I do agree.
The third character I was thinking of was Himawari, but we already discussed that. But I will say, after mentioning all 3 of those characters, is the fact that I agree it's not absolutely essential. Yes, it's not necessary, but these are just aspects of the quality that are being stripped away, stripping the story down to its skeleton, to where, yeah, sure, it's an okay story, but if you add these other aspects,
wait, Ood, you're arguing the point I you don't have to convince me. I was literally saying this earlier.
No, I agree. I think I'm just saying it in a different way. But again, you apply that to part 1. You didn't need to see Choji's reason for training. You didn't need Shino's reason for training, but we still got that. That still made part 1 feel more fulfilling.
Yeah. It added some meat that's emotionally resonant. I completely agree. Yeah, Boruto could use more of that. I agree. That's literally what I was saying earlier.
This just ties into the concept. Yeah.
Yeah, I've literally, the only disagreements I've been having are like hyper specific, but like overall, this whole debate was piggybacking off what I initially said about Naruto having, on average, way more emotionally nuanced and emotionally resonant moments than Boruto. Like, I literally said that earlier.
Yeah, that's going back to that. Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, well, what this is stemming from is from, like, you liked the time skip, whereas we didn't, which is why we're...
The timing of it, you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I guess I misunderstood what you meant by timing. And when you said timing, like, oh, it happening now at the current stage of the story, I thought. And I was like, no, I think
basically, like, would you have preferred an extra 3 chapters?
To linger on everything, for more getting Sakura's perspective, getting all these other people's perspective, like getting Amado's perspective, lingering on this emotional turmoil Boruto's having. Oh, of course, 100%. When you guys said like the timing, I assumed you meant, oh, we needed like maybe 1 or 2 more arcs before this.
No,
I agree. This should have been the final arc.
Yeah, you guys like that's you got to admit that statement is very vague, right? So I misinterpreted what you guys meant.
No, this should have been the final arc because it's wrapping up the overarching themes of Boruto Part 1.
Yeah. So we don't have to linger on this anymore. I completely agree with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a misunderstanding. I'll take it.
And even this is sort of an arbitrary thing, and I know don't compare to part 1, but Naruto and Sasuke was a final fight. We never got anything of a final fight in Boruto. There was no climax. We had
that's
like,
that I cannot agree with you on. That's great that there's no final fight, because given that the battle was literally rendered impossible the moment that Ada did that.
Why?
And that's, again, which goes back to what you were saying, why the ultimate despair would have been great, because like Boruto can't even he can't even talk to Kawaki because there's so many people in his way. And friends, not just people, friends, comrades, people of his village, people of his home.
Well, Kawaki...
So yeah, I disagree with the fact that like he had to fight Kawaki. I think it's better if he.
What about fighting
Mitsuki? But okay, like just
about fighting who?
Making this less arbitrary. Mitsuki. Sasuke has healing ninjutsu. He could have healed Boruto's eye, so he is at 100%. He still has a scar, but he's physically fine. Kawaki can track him down through his Otsutsuki. He can even teleport to him, so it doesn't matter whether there's people in his way or not, because he can just go straight there, the same way Ada went straight there to explain omnipotence to him.
Yeah, it's kind of strange why Mitsuki and Kawaki just give up on looking for him when they didn't need to. Why not pursue them? I do think that should have been resolved.
Oh, why not pursue? Yeah, I don't remember the explanation for why they didn't pursue.
We just don't get it. Yeah, again, like the last thing we see immediately. I mean, guys,
I don't know if you guys are looking at the time. It is getting later. That's why I was trying to like move along.
That's fair.
If you wanted, because I know you guys wanted to talk about pain for whatever reason.
Okay, yeah, we can just cut to that then.
Yeah, because I most like holistically, I agree. It's just very minute, specific things that we might have some contentions on, but that's fine.
Let's just switch to the pain stuff then.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Okay. So Oodie, I guess present your case.
Okay.
He agreed with me and Camcam, so.
Pain arc poo poo. So reasoning. So Jiraiya is Naruto's mentor. Jiraiya failed. Naruto uses Jiraiya's as he was, as his failure self, and he overcomes Pain narratively because of Jiraiya, who had already lost because Pain overcame Jiraiya.
Yeah.
So the problem, like, I disagree because, like I said, Nagato always believed in Jiraiya's ideals. He had his original, like, Jiraiya wrote the book based off of Nagato. Like, that was Nagato, the same way Obito always wanted to be Hokage. Naruto just ripped off the mask and restored Nagato to who he originally was, and that's why he sides with Naruto, because he realizes, this kid's like me.
Do you remember what I say in my first resolution of Naruto vid about that scene? I literally touch on exactly what you're saying.
What do you say?
Oh, you don't remember? No, no. I'm talking about the confrontation Naruto has with Nagato.
Okay, refresh me.
I literally acknowledge the fact that like Naruto's answer is not there's no different answer Naruto's proposing. But there's still a transformative reason he reaches Nagato. It's actually really simple.
Because it's personable to Nagato. But that answer doesn't apply to the world.
No. It's that Naruto experienced the same pain that Nagato did, yet he stops short of retaliation.
What I said to Oodie last
and
time.
And perpetuates the cycle. So again, Nagato didn't believe even. It's not even that he didn't believe, because he used to believe. So it's always been somewhere in there. It's at least a part of his past, the past him that he still knows about, which is why he even gave Naruto a chance to keep speaking, because he wanted to hear his answer. Because Naruto is a fellow student, someone who also, just like Naruto, used to look up to Jiraiya in his ideology. But again, because Nagato had been his judgment and his ideology had been clouded by the awful experiences he had to endure, or he couldn't endure, rather. He saw the world. He saw himself he saw the world as an extension of himself, and that the world has not been able to endure this cycle of suffering. and that it will keep perpetuating, and the world will keep being in a constant cycle of despair so long as humans remain human. And what makes a human human? When they're hurt, that hurt will eventually translate into them committing more hurt, and the cycle goes on and on. But what does Naruto do? He actively contradicts Nagato's line of reasoning, because what does he do? He stops short, and instead he reaches out the hand of reconciliation to Nagato.
Exactly. To piggyback on that, like I said this before, Oodie, he doesn't need to give him like a literal answer to his solution. The point is, Naruto, in a sense, overcame his own hatred of Nagato. Instead of lashing out, continuing the cycle, he said, "I hate you, but I won't kill you."
Yeah, but so Naruto, in effect,
continuing the same idea.
Naruto, in effect, he in effect did prove Nagato wrong through action. And I literally, by the way, I literally say this in the video. He doesn't give an answer, but he gives a demonstration in his actions, or rather his lack of action, i.e., the fact that he didn't act upon his wrath, even when confronted with the object of his wrath, right? Which that action contradicted Nagato's ideology more than any amount or any culmination of sentences possibly could, right? So
Nagato expected Naruto to want to fight. He's like, "So you want to settle things then?" ? Like, he's ready for that, but Naruto says, "No, I don't." Like, that's the surprising part.
Sure, but the problem I have with this doesn't apply to the rest of the world. This doesn't apply to other people. This only applies to people that are like or were like Naruto. Because other people aren't going to accept that answer.
Well,
if Naruto doesn't fight back against Sasuke, Sasuke's going to kill him. He didn't fight back against the Raikage.
Nagato is only like Naruto. Nagato is only like Naruto in that they once had the same sensei, and they once both believed in their sensei. At that point, Nagato is not like Naruto, because Nagato is just like every other human that he, or what he perceives to be every other human, someone who knew despair and then proceeded to use that pain to fuel his despair he inflicted on other people. They're not the same. That's the point. Naruto shows how humans can be different.
But
Naruto also, Oodie, if Sasuke presented the same concept as Nagato, like, and Naruto proves him wrong through action, that can still affect someone else. It's extra good on Nagato because Nagato once believed in what Naruto did. But at the same time, though, I don't think that's a problem, because I don't see a problem with Naruto restoring Obito back to Obito when that only applies to Obito, because Obito is the only Obito. Like, of course it only applies to Nagato, because it's Nagato and it's not Sasuke. Naruto wouldn't do anything the same for Sasuke, because none of it would be relevant in that case.
Yeah,
Nagato
is
Nagato,
one
and he presents the Nagato problem, the Nagato observation, and Naruto counters and proves Nagato wrong. It should apply most specifically to Nagato, because that's the one he's confronted with.
He's the antagonist. Like, he's the one that needs to be stopped at this point.
Yeah, this is a one-on-one. This is individual, but he needs an answer that applies to everyone, because the problem is with the world and the system in the world that led to these problems in the first place.
But he saw, okay, Nagato presented a dilemma. If you are hurt, you will hurt others, essentially. If, like, you feel pain, like, if you hate someone, you're going to continue the cycle of hatred. That's Nagato's observation that he presents to Naruto. Naruto effectively proves it wrong by being like, well, I do hate you still because you killed my master, but I'm not going to continue the cycle. So he proved Nagato wrong. Nagato's the one who has this belief.
Yeah,
so
and this is why, by the way, this is why that segment is so beautiful, because, again, what thereby happens by Naruto extending the hand of reconciliation to the person that caused him so much strife, what happens? Nagato met his hand, and in the process, that unity spawned the best possible resolution, far better than if Naruto had defeated or had killed Nagato out of quote-unquote righteous retribution. Because what would have happened if Naruto did that? Nagato and he wouldn't have revived everyone. Because Naruto did that, they together spawned a resolution that that saved everyone. Because again, here's the thing: they both, in actuality, end up helping each other. Naruto, through this experience, gains the maturity and the understanding to further his goal to reach Sasuke, right? Because now he understands better. Sorry, what was that?
I've been telling Oodie this forever. I know you just hyped me up. Yeah, the pain is essentially like the reason Naruto is able to defeat Sasuke in a sense. Like without pain, Naruto can't understand and properly overcome Sasuke's hatred.
Well, even Obito, you know, even with Obito,
like he needs everything, but like the message from that arc essentially like overcoming the thing to beat Sasuke that Naruto learns after the 5 Kakesama arc when everyone's talking about killing Sasuke. It's not about just beating up Sasuke. He needs to overcome his hatred. Something he was taught about from pain. Something he does versus pain. He overcomes his hatred. He understands to save Sasuke, I need to help Sasuke overcome his own hatred, essentially. And that's something that's a result of the pain. Naruto doesn't have this understanding without the pain.
So when I say that I don't like Naruto's answer, I don't mean that I think Naruto should have fought back or proven pain right or anything like that. Naruto confronted Nagato as a human, but Nagato is more than an individual. He's embodying an ideology. He's more than just Nagato. Pain, the 6 paths of pain, was born from the world. Nagato is a byproduct of the hatred of the world itself. And so that's presenting a problem, an issue larger than Nagato himself. But Naruto never confronts or even mentions this problem outside of he has no answer.
Wait. Dude, it's so funny you say that because I even touch on this in my resolution of Naruto video. Nagato illustrates this. He's like, Naruto, one day you will come to know war. And I say, the mere reality is the victory over pain was a mere prelude to a lesson much greater and much harder to endure. What Nagato is actually referring to, is alluding to, is he knows Obito's plan, and he knows that the inevitability of that plan, it will engulf the world into war. So Nagato is saying, while I can see that what you have just demonstrated to me is much well beyond what I can imagine any individual to do, but now you need to extend that globally, and only then will you be able to find a novel answer that even Jiraiya couldn't muster. What Nagato did is something that is the quintessential thing he discarded when he was a kid. It's his hope, right? It's something that Gaara says in the Kage-sama when Obito is talking about his project Suke no Me and talking about how there's no hope left for the world. Gaara says, but we'll never abandon that hope. Nagato abandoned hope for the world. But through Naruto, he saw a glimmer, and all night, because again, this is the same person that inspired this whole book. No matter how small that glimmer of light, Nagato just needed to see it somewhere. But after ultimate despair, it's the same thing with Sasuke. What's the first thing that came to him? Obito came to him and manipulated him. But all he needed was that one glimmer of light to show him an example of someone that directly contradicts how he feels every human would operate in this circumstance. And Naruto showed him differently. But even Nagato addresses exactly what you're saying. He says, Naruto, in time, you will know war. And when that happens, you'll try to give it meaning, but all you'll find is death and destruction. And that's all I can see. But maybe you'll be able to find something else from it. And I entrust that to you, and I hope you can. Again, that's what it was all about, is him reclaiming his hope.
Okay. So I guess,
and that's like a big message. So, like, real quick, Oodie, I know you hate Hashirama, but this is a big message between Hashirama and Madara. Like, hope for the future versus being pessimistic about the future, focusing on the past. Like,
or not entrusting the
hope in the future. He doesn't need. He has hope in Naruto's future because Naruto overcame hatred. Like, in Naruto also was who Nagato was. Like, that is Nagato. Nagato essentially became pain. Went back to Nagato. Of course, Nagato believes in Naruto. He always did. He always had hope. Like, Pain didn't have hope, but Nagato did, if you want to put it that way.
Okay, so I have 2 final thoughts on this. both of which I disagree with. Okay, so first of all, with the Nagato thing, I think we're just going to fundamentally disagree for the same reason we disagree on Obito with Nagato. So I think Nagato's inner child self isn't necessarily still in there. I think this is still his inner child self. He's just grown up. So Obito says that he woke up. He's not putting on a mask. What he's doing is he's learning from the world, and he's taking those experiences. It's embodying him. He's not going to make the same mistakes again. The mistakes that he was previously ignorant to. Now he knows that they exist. He's learned from the world, and he's more adapted. So, okay, beyond that, I think this is just a better version of Nagato, and I think Nagato always embodied hope. So what is hope? It's the hope, or that's not right. It's the wish that things will get better in the future. That's what he's doing both previously and now. So currently, he's fighting to do this Tell Beast plan to make a better future. He thinks what he's fighting for will be a better future than what's currently. It doesn't matter whether you think it is. It matters what Nagato thinks. Nagato's
Wait,
fighting for
you can't bring up Obito again
optimistic
after you
future.
already conceded on the Obito shit.
I didn't concede. We moved on. But okay.
Yeah. You can't bring that back up on the spotlight. And again, my retort's very simple. It's literally like they parallel each other perfectly, because Obito was deeper in the pit. So again, it was at his innermost core that he actively Obito ceased even trying to look for it, and he actively looked away from what was in his deepest, most desire. Whereas Nagato, what did he do? He was actively trying to find it. He just couldn't see it anywhere around him. That's the difference. That's the key difference between them, is that Nagato was still always trying to look. That's why that faint glimmer of light was enough, and he was like, "Oh, there is someone who can usurp that curse. If there's one individual, who's to say more individuals couldn't learn from this and then embody this, and then the world could be a better place." With Obito, it was just much harder, because it was lurking deeper down, because his pain had been going on for a long time, and he saw a dream. The way he coped with it was just completely different too, mind you, right? And that he was actively confronted with that light, but he manipulated it to be no. What am I trying to say? Fuck, I got to reframe what I'm saying. I know what I was saying earlier was correct, but what am I trying to say here? Essentially, Obito needed more than that. Obito needed to be exposed to what was lurking down within him, whereas Nagato always saw that. But it's just everything around him showed him a reality that was far different than what he saw. Whereas Obito, even when he saw it, he was looking away from it, right? Because he didn't believe this world. That light would manifest into something worthwhile, right? When in actuality, deep down, he saw that eventuality, which would potentially be him finding light in a world without Rin being Hokage, yada yada yada. But again, Nagato, for him, he knew that he knew about that world, and he tried to make that world a reality, that brighter world. It's just that the darkness kind of enveloped him, and that's all he saw. So and very simple. Nagato was outward. He was looking for something outward, where Obito was actively trying to avert his gaze from the inward, is what I'm trying to say. That's it. That's the key difference.
I think
they're
that
literally polar opposites in how they're mentally warped.
Nagato directly says to Naruto that what you and I are doing is the same. You fight for your justice, I fight for mine. I think it's fair to say Nagato is fighting for what he believes in to be a better world, the same way that Naruto's doing the same exact thing.
But again, that's because again, you're not disproving anything to say. That's because all he was seeing around him was validating that idea. He was always searching for any contradiction. He was searching for any light, because he truly wanted it deep down, but he couldn't find it. And again, for Obito, it was just that, like, deep down, he knew what he wanted, but he did not allow himself to think about it for even a second.
The reason that they're all fighting is because they all acknowledge and they're all trying to do something about this shinobi system that's so messed up. Even Jiraiya says it, this shinobi world's so messed up, and he's trying to find a solution to peace, if it even exists. And that's what he's embodying Naruto to do. So Naruto acknowledges the current world has problems. Pain's trying to present a solution. Naruto's fighting against that solution. That's accepting the way things are now. That's the stagnation.
No, but you're talking about solutions. You're talking about solutions and disregarding the problem that needs to be solved. Nagato saw the fundamental problem being the cyclical nature of like hate and breeding warfare. And again, that small light, he saw a contradiction. Naruto contradicted that whole philosophy, that every human is prone to this no matter what. And Naruto showed him differently. That's all he needed.
I think so something I would say for Nagato here, Oodie, is that Nagato, obviously he understood the cycle of hatred thing. He found what he thought to be a solution to the cycle of hatred. But what was like the problem in like how was he?
No. He didn't find again. You guys really need to rewatch my Naruto videos. I'm
gonna be honest, I haven't watched any of your videos, so it'd be your first time watching.
You haven't watched any of them. That's fucking crazy. Okay, wait.
Told him to before this. It's not my fault.
I
watched like half of one, but I was busy at the gym, so I never got it.
I have to say this though,
and I'm not a part of their opinions. Okay, I'm listening.
No, I get you, Cam. I know. Because I think you mentioned that earlier anyway. But I say this. No, Nagato's was not Nagato acknowledges his is not a perpetual solution. His is but like a transient moment of peace.
Yeah,
when he dies, he knows very well it could be forgotten and thrown away. Because it can only be viable so long as he's like alive. And he's the one in control. At the very least, he's aware that it could be that this moment of temporary peace would die as soon as he dies. It could die with him, and he knows that.
But then that'd be entrusting the next generation, which is what all the quote-unquote good characters do.
I wasn't disagreeing with you, Hot Boys. That's why. So you're just agreeing with these kind of. So the point I was going to get at was against Oodie. So Nagato thinks there's a problem. Humans can't overcome their hatred. But what he can do here is use pain to force people to grow up, to see the problem, like make war really bad so they don't want to fight anymore. So he did have a plan for the next generation, though. First, he was going to use his tail beast weapon. Then he was going to give it to everyone else so that they would use the tail beast weapon again. They're going to be hurt by pain. They won't want to fight because the pain is so bad. And then eventually the pain will subside and they will return to war again because of the hatred. So he's not really breaking the cycle. What he's doing is putting pauses, momentary times of peace, more peace than there was before. That's his plan. But with Naruto, he sees that, well, actually, maybe people can overcome their hatred, just like Naruto did. And that's why he just disregards his plan, because he sees a better future with what Naruto's doing than what he was doing.
Yeah,
because what he was doing doesn't stop people from hating each other. It just stops them from wanting to kill each other because the war was so freaking bad that they're just hurt. And they don't want to fight because it was so bad.
And this is, and by the way, this is what I say in my video too, is that like Naruto perfectly embodies what he's saying, that like this might be a possibility that we can usurp it. And what does he do? He actualizes it through his actions. He shows, and look, I'm an example, where look at Pain. If you look at his actual actions, what does he seem to be doing? It's almost as if it's retribution against the world that only crushed him. It almost, like his actions really ring, because again, he's doing the same thing every humans do, or every other human does. It's like he was hurt and now he's inflicting massive hurt. He says as much too with Naruto. It's very telling. What does he mention is like, oh, that would be fair. But you know what? You guys fucking destroyed my village too. I'm only doing what you guys did to me. So he's actively perpetuating the very thing he criticizes.
He only does this because of
Tsunade. And we know he wasn't above, because he always talks about being above pain, right? That's the whole thing about it. But what does he say before he does the almighty push? I will never forget Yahiko's pain. So he was never above the pain. He still remembered it as he's destroying the leaf below. And who was it that caused that ultimate pain that caused Yahiko's death. It was Danzo's plan, Danzo's scheme, the very person that was from the Leaf Village, the village that helped desecrate his land and cause all these circumstances to happen. So part of it wasn't just about his ultimate plan and that he was above it all. He was above the pain because he had experienced pain. No, that pain was still there. He was never above it. And even now, this enacting of wrath, he's deluding himself because he still hates the Leaf. And this still, what he's doing now, it is retribution in a sense.
Well, you have to have the retribution with the pauses of peace for his plan to work. That is his plan. But him destroying the village that wasn't his plan. In fact, his plan wasn't even to kill people in the village in the first place. It was just to find Naruto to get him out of there. The same way what Ishiki does when he invades in the manga. So he only destroys the village in response to Tsunade. And Tsunade's answer, because he was leaving the village. Tsunade stopped him. Tsunade gave him her speech. Tsunade hadn't learned, so Pain is essentially enacting his plan in like a pseudo version, like a junior version of his plan.
No, but do you remember what she said?
Okay, then he's just a childish brat in that case.
Do you remember what she says though?
Not exactly. I get the general idea. Okay. Like, oh, you're wrong.
She says something along the lines that the 5 great nations have endured just as much pain as you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But again, super telling, because when she says 5 great nations have endured, what is he thinking about? But those 5 great nations, the people that she's talking about, endured so much. Their wars were responsible for crushing a land that didn't even have anything to do with those wars, right? So again, it's really telling that she says that, and one of the things that was hinged on is she emphasized you're crushing the sanctity we found as the 5 great nations. Like the 5 great nations were like in a period of disarmament. This is talked about in the Kage Summit, is that we're in a period of disarmament right now. Like things have calmed down. Yet when things are just calming down, isn't it really bizarre that Nagato is not letting them is not waiting and being patient to see them desist more and more? Isn't it really interesting that the Akatsuki are breeding more and more carnage? And isn't it telling that he decides to crush the Leaf after Tsunade mentions the 5 great nations and how they've endured and how they're recovering from that? It's because, again, there's an emotional resonance there. It's like, oh, you think you've endured? You think the 5 great nations? What about my land that was destroyed because of you guys' quote unquote endurance? What about what we had to endure? We weren't even a part of. We had nothing to do with your wars. So of course that's going to strike a nerve. And of course, because there's no real reason he can just fly off if it doesn't matter to him. He can just fly off and go find Naruto. And then enact his actual plan in a more productive way, a calculated and productive way. Instead, he decides to inflict his wrath on the village when he hears that. Because it brings him back to when he was a kid and his parents were killed by Leaf Ninja when they had nothing to do with the war.
It's a nice sentiment, all that. And it does strike on a personal level, maybe it does strike a nerve, but Tsunade is wrong there, and he is proving a point. She is wrong when she says that the 5 great nations have endured as much pain as he has, because the 5 great nations were at war for 3 different time periods. The first 3 wars, the proxy wars happening were continuous in the Rain Village. Not only that, during the times of war, inside the villages, it was still peaceful. It was only outside.
Wait, Ood, I really do feel like I'm talking to the ultimate Naruto villain right now. Someone who surpasses the layers of delusion of Madara and Obito. Are you just gonna ignore the 4th Great Ninja War, the Allied Shinobi Force, and
that hasn't happened yet.
And the child soldiers? My
again,
God,
that hasn't happened yet. And what does child soldiers have to do with what I said?
No. Again,
well, to me, it's just people have suffered. No.
Again, no, Ood. I'm talking in reference to the fact that the Allied Shinobi forces had already gained a massive amount of perspective, regardless of Pain's plan coming into fruition. Because outside of Pain, they proved that you don't need a atrocious plan like that. To help make the world a better place, because through that historical, Tsunade was right. The 5 great nations, that historical perspective, because again, mind you, looking at the forest again, Naruto's world, the shinobi system, is very, very new. The warring lands were actually not that long ago in the timeline. So this is still like a brand new system, still trying to take its roots, and it mirrors the real world, and how nowadays there's not this like global this global strife for territory and power, where we've like a lot of mostly globally we've calmed down a lot on like the territorial disputes, the crusades on foreign land. We've settled down, and like we have our borders, and for the most part we all respect each other's borders. There's still conflict here and there, but there probably always will be. And Naruto parallels that idea too. Like we've learned from history. The five Kages prove that they've learned from history, regardless of pain, they were able to ally together, and then through facing a common enemy, through that perspective of fighting together, they realized, oh, we can cooperate. We're more alike than we are different. And then what happens after that? Now there's unprecedented peace in the shinobi world, and Pain's plan never happened. So again, Tsunade was right. She gets proven right by the preceding events in the story.
I feel like what I said just went over the heads. Like, again, what I'm saying objectively just has to be true. There has been times of peace for the five great nations. They've been in 3 wars, they've been in 3 armistices. Those armistices are times of peace, whereas the strife was continuous for the Rain Village. Not only that, during the times of war, inside villages, inside Konoha, they've experienced
wait. You're literally proving my point. You're literally proving my point in that Nagato's plan was not for the world, given that the world is not the Hidden Rain Village, right? If he's thinking only about the circumstances of the Rain Village, that's coming more from his own pain he feels, and now he wants to enact his wrath upon the world, and it's a delusion to say, oh no, this is for the world, right? If the world in actuality has already been experiencing, why would Pain enact that plan then if the world has already been experiencing exactly what you're saying? Aren't you contradicting yourself in your interpretation of the story by saying that Pain's going to enact a plan that when the world is already in that state of like, peace here and there, but war, and then warfare here and there, like it's periodic. It's not like they're in constant strife. No, the Hidden Rain is just in constant strife, and that hurt Nagato time and time again, right?
So I agree, it is the same thing. The difference is that he's making longer pauses of peace, like Kamui said. The pauses in peace would be longer under Pain's plan.
I doubt it, but
At least that's his idea.
Yeah, that's what he's fighting for, regardless if it's true or not. I mean, there's no way to prove it either way. It's just in universe.
Yeah,
we don't know.
it didn't happen.
But what if? But okay, at the very least, let's assume it's true. At the very least, he thinks it's true. He has a solution to the problem of the world. Everyone acknowledges there's a problem. They don't know if there is another solution, but they can still look for it under Pain's plan. So Pain can just enact his plan.
Pain's gonna let them form another plan?
Why wouldn't he? His plan's in place. They can form another plan for peace. Because the whole idea is about peace in the first place. So meanwhile, while they find another plan for peace, Pain's plan should be in place because it would just be objective.
No, but that's already actively. But again, you're disregarding the fact that like the five great nations are in an era of disarmament. Literally, Pain is doing this in the most peaceful era, and the most peaceful era there has been. And the only reason there's continent-wide conflict is literally just because of the Akatsuki, the organization he's helping lead.
Yeah, and the Five Kage Summit, they all acknowledge that most of the villages are using the Akatsuki, and it's just causing a bunch of problems for everybody.
Exactly.
That's not the Akatsuki is like... The Akatsuki isn't the only problem in the world. All the villages, even during this armistice, are still not at war, but making conflict on their missions. Look at the Land of Waves. They're fighting against the Mist.
Yeah, like just use an example. The Hidden Cloud was trying to sneakily get to the Leaf Village with the Hyuga incident during a time of quote-unquote peace. So they're not actually on the best terms.
Yeah, but like, what is
2 years ago, the Sand tried to destroy the Leaf.
What did the Leaf do? What did the Leaf do?
They killed the dude? Like, what? They killed Hiyashi.
Well, yeah. So what happened? Did they have war from that? Did that spark warfare?
I mean, the Leaf sacrificed one of their own.
They sacrificed
the Leaf made a huge sacrifice so that they would avoid war.
Okay, but that's still the conflict is still there, though.
But it's to avoid a war.
No. You don't understand. They do the leaf actively does the very same thing that Naruto later does in the story, reaching out a hand to the enemy to avoid suffering far greater than what has come prior. Right?
If anything, all these other villages are kind of a little, more fucked
Well,
up. And
I mean, the Leaf Village was doing a lot of good things, but to make another example, the Sand Village chooses war because of, granted, Orochimaru's manipulation, but because they think it basically a profit situation with the feudal lord or whatever it was. They explain it. But the point is they chose war for their own sake instead of trying to find a peaceful solution to their problem, which Hiruzen would have wanted.
Yeah,
so not every village was doing it.
If Hashirama gave the first Kazekage more agriculture like he wanted to for profit, this never would have happened. But the point is, regardless,
doesn't he do that? Like no. he gave him that.
Well, then this
because he already had to beat you. No, he does. Like because he had to beat you, he gave him that instead.
We don't see the resolution. He asked for it. We don't know.
Hashirama doesn't disagree. I think it's implied that he went along with it.
Well, okay. Well, it's implied that he doesn't go along with it based on the sand attacking the leaf for more land for the economy of the agriculture.
Well, no, I have to reread the specifics of what they say, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. It doesn't necessarily have to be that land that was the problem in that case. They could have developed a new problem with agriculture.
You're disregarding the man most opposed to that proposal was Tobirama's right-hand man, which was his younger brother, and the second Hokage, which also caused a lot of strife amongst his own people, and the stuff that he implemented way back when almost started a civil war in Hiruzen's time. So you're disregarding the fact that like Tobirama like literally was his or not Tobirama, but yeah, Tobirama was literally Hashirama's successor, right?
Yeah. So are you implying Tobirama took land away is what you think is most likely?
No, if you're talking about like the agriculture agreement, it could be like Tobirama was just like, yeah, I'm going to stop doing that.
Stop doing it. Okay, so
well, I think it was like done. Like once he did it, I mean, he could have fought a war to take it back. That's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it probably
we don't know.
Somebody Google it.
I mean, it's possible.
I don't think. Well, it's not in the stories, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's this is theory crafting headcanon. All we know is it's heavily implied that Hashirama bowed down to their
wants.
Yeah. Like he did the compromising so that it would avert war, but.
Well, that's not true because Hashirama was alive when the first war happened.
Well, yeah, he did it to avoid war. It didn't work.
Okay. I mean, it would have worked if he didn't compromise in the first place. Because no one would
What would have worked? What would have worked?
If Hashirama never distributed the Biju, giving them equal power, they wouldn't have had equal power to even start a war in the first place.
No. But they would have just had warfare without the Biju. I'm not following.
And then they would be fighting against Konoha with the Biju? No, they wouldn't.
I think we're getting. I think we're like getting further and further away from.
Well, I mean, in that case, so hypothetically, I know Hashirama would probably stomp everyone anyway, but hypothetically, the world could have turned on the Leaf Village for having all the Biju.
Yeah, exactly. It could.
His idea is to make no one want to turn on the Leaf Village or anyone because it's all equal. There's no reason to target anyone.
Yeah, this goes to like the Sasuke thing. Is like. Yeah, but like the world will probably just turn against you, and then you'll be like the new Madara, where everyone's like is like coming together to face you.
But it doesn't matter if you have all the Biju.
Well,
like, no one can stand up against
you. Hypothetically, Hashirama could just beat everyone, but Hashirama doesn't want to do that. And what if they keep fighting him?
Because you have to have good relations with other countries because you're going to need resources and shit,
But the world isn't going to stand against you if you demonstrate your power.
They're
That's not true, Oodie, because Madara had a ridiculous amount of power, and the world definitely stood against him.
The world didn't recognize or know Madara's power. To the degree
that in the war arc, they saw it and they were standing against them.
No,
they saw Obito become the 10 Tails Kaguraki and become the strongest guy there. They still stood against them because they disagreed with him.
In the war arc, they faced Madara until Madara brought down the meteors. Then they ran away because they understood Madara's power. The same thing with
Dude, you know who you
Biju with
remind me
Hashirama.
of?
That's not true. They didn't run away. They still kept fighting him.
Okay, let Hot Boy say what he wants to say. What?
She wants to hear me rush too. You remind me of I'm forgetting his the YouTuber I debated over the Otsutsuki show.
Daigo. I was gonna ask you.
You remind me. You're literally like it's literally 1-to-1. It's like you just are unwilling to concede anywhere.
See,
do you not agree
told
the
you.
Biju act as a
told
deterrent?
you.
Oh, I'm sorry that I don't go back
told
on my
you, you're the
word
one
or
that-
give up, just like Naruto, who you proclaim is so correct.
Well, actually, no. Naruto changes his perspective a lot and like admits he's wrong.
I'm enduring
Otherwise,
like
he
a
wouldn't
shinobi.
change perspective. Huh?
Madara's plan wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah,
True.
sorry.
True.
Sorry about your bad
Yeah.
luck, kid.
So do you want to endure or not, Oodie?
You wouldn't have
Are
to
you
become a
are you
better
on the
person if
endure
you're
side
already
or the
perfect.
not to endure side?
I'm proving the hypocritical contradictory nature.
No,
here.
you're proving that you're hypocritical. The infinite Tsukuyomi is wrong.
Media
Case
The
literacy
closed.
Biju
is
act
dead,
as a
apparently.
deterrent. Biju are a deterrent. If Hashirama has them all, he deters everyone from fighting against him.
But like
Not
I said,
necessarily,
the
though. Like
Leaf
I said, it
Village
could
cannot
target
be
you.
an island. The Leaf Village has to have good relations with other villages for resources and like shit. Duh.
It's also like in the center, like of the map, like from all 4 directions, they can be targeted because they're so strong. Like, for example, Haku's clan, the Yuki clan, they were freaking strong. That's exactly why they were targeted. The Uzumaki clan, they were strong and dangerous. That's why the world turned on them.
True.
It got rid of
I
them.
knew you were gonna say the
They will
Uzumaki.
fear
The
Hashirama's
Uzumaki didn't
power
have the
and they will
Biju.
turn
They
on
had
him.
sealing techniques.
Again, the sealing techniques were feared.
No,
Yuki clan
like,
was feared for the ice release. Hashirama would be feared. Hashirama is a nice guy. Haku was a nice guy. Doesn't matter. The world will fear them, and because of that fear, they very well might have turned on him. Of course, he could just win, but at what cost? Killing a bunch of people he doesn't want to kill? He can try not to kill them, sure, but then they'll just keep coming after him.
Look at Sasuke's
Because
plan
they
for
fear his
revolution.
power. He has too much.
The point of Sasuke's revolution, he's going to do what they did in the War Arc, to where they all unite against one common enemy. They're not going to actually fight against him. If they try, he's just going to deter them from doing so by demonstrating his power. Sasuke's
He's just
plan
going to
would've
beat them
worked.
down and be a dictator, which
But
Hashirama
that's
doesn't
exactly-
want
yeah,
to do
that's
that.
exactly what. But that's exactly what Obito tried to do. That's exactly what Madara, like they had like ultimate supreme power. Yet there was still, as long as there was a minority of people that would rise up and inspired all the other masses to rise up against him. No one wants to feel impeded by a great oppressor. No one wants that.
And
People want to feel like the thing looming above them is fair and righteous in a sense. And that's why we have, like, in the United States, for instance, like a constitution, like a body of words that like transcends one individual. Like it's multiple individuals coming together to make something that is above them, that people can agree on, right? Like it was literally a doctrine that was created through mutual agreement. Like many people came together and said, okay, I can like vibe with this. Even if I don't agree with everything, I can like have some concessions here and there to have an overall better experience, which is exactly what Naruto does through his uniting of the 5 villages through facing a common enemy. They were able to, through that experience, they were able to look at each other and say, hey, we're more alike than different. And even though like, you guys have done a lot of fucked up shit in the past, and you probably still are doing some shit I disagree with, being cool, and now that I can see you for you being a human and you're kind of a lot like me, I can see it as a possibility now. Maybe we can be chill. Maybe even if there's like not always going to be peace and shit, maybe at least we don't have another world war.
Also, another thing, Oodie, I would say is a big thing is about seeing people as equals. Hashirama wants the villages to be quote unquote seen as equals, distribute the Biju evenly. There would be no equality if Hashirama has all of the Biju. It's literally as unequal as possible. And that's not promoting his vision. Also, another thing is Hashirama verbatim is willing to kill anyone who threatens the Leaf Village, be it a friend, brother, sibling, parent, child, or whatever. if the world attacks the Leaf Village, who's to say he's not forced to kill all of them for threatening the Leaf Village?
Hence
That's
why
not what he wants to
Hashirama's
do.
wrong. Exactly. I'm glad you
But
agree.
the point is, he wants the world to be
Okay,
on
babe.
equal terms. So give out the Biju so that the 5 great nations are on equal terms. That is his vision. It makes sense to a degree. Similarly, Pain's philosophy, he wants the Pain to be pretty much equal, not just the small nations. Everybody shares the same pain. There's an equality aspect. Of course, you don't need to do all this fighting to do it. That's what Naruto shows Pain. But like, the point is, being on equal terms is important. Hogging all the Biju is not in accordance with that.
Well, I do want to let Hot Boy go because it's like 30 minutes past the latest he said he wanted to come on. I do want to say really quickly, the last thing I'll say, the bad guys are never the ones that start the fighting. The 5 great nations are always the one that fight back. They're the ones using the physical force. Obito always tries to compromise. Hey, give me the tail beast and I won't fight you. Hey, I'll start the infantry.
That's not always
Don't
true.
fight
I
against
can give you an example
and
when
then
that's
that
definitely not true.
decentivizes the people in the war. It's characters like Sasuke who motivate them again. How? By fighting back. Obito gives them several chances to stop fighting. Obito doesn't want to fight anyone. That's not the point.
No, but it's not.
Yeah, he wants to take away their freedom, put them in the world they don't want.
Dude, like, I don't know how your perspective can be so dog shit. Like, again, because the reason why they fight back is because it's not a compromise. They're saying it's my way or destruction. There's no compromise.
Okay, and
Good
they aren't
decisions
compromising
happen.
with them.
You know, good and fruitful decisions always happen when both sides compromise. And a compromise will always mean loss on both sides, but it's equivocal and that both sides lose, but both sides also gain. When it's an ultimatum, it's either I gain all or nothing. Is what they're saying, is that like I gain all or total destruction or scorched earth. That's not that is not an agreement, right? That is a dictatorship ultimatum. Like
Obito tries
my
to
way or
compromise
scorched
with
earth.
them. The 5 great nations refuse to compromise.
There's no compromising with Obito's plan. If you give him what he
compromise
wants,
with
it's
the
over.
terrorists.
There's no way to compromise with Obito's plan.
No. You guys, wait. You guys are saying there's like an there's not an it's literally a verbatim ultimatum. Toby/Obito says, hey, either you give up your defenses and like bow to my project Tsukinome, or die, or just like die.
Yeah, that's a compromise. He uses the word or.
No, that's
die.
not a compromise. No, because they don't want either. Neither option is favorable. It's only favorable for him. That's not a compromise. That is literally that goes against the definition of a compromise. A compromise has to be an agreement where both parties are losing something, but they also both gain something, and it's mutually beneficial.
I can still work with this.
Again,
Okay.
this is an ultimatum.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, Obito doesn't compromise. In return, the 5 great nation doesn't attempt to compromise.
Well, you can't say for the sake of argument. It's literally, by definition, not a compromise.
Oodie, there's no way to compromise in this situation, because what Obito's plan is, I'm going to end this world, or I'm going to kill you until I get what I want. What is the compromise the 5 great nations are supposed to give him? Okay, I'll let you end half the world? Like, no.
Kamui, you're talking about this like it might be like an interpretation. It's not an interpretation issue. It is literally, by definition, not a compromise, because they explicitly say, well, both options are only like a lose-lose for us. So like, why this is not a compromise? This is literally like an ultimatum. It's like, hey, pick the one that sounds the least shitty. Pick the option that sounds the least shitty. Like, okay, well, the least shitty for us is like to fight you, and maybe we'll have a chance of winning. That's it's an ultimatum, not a compromise.
We'll never know because they never tried. Maybe if they did, Obito would have compromised.
No.
Because again, there is nothing to compromise.
Kamui, shut up. Because it is not. You're saying, well, they never tried to compromise. Well, Obito, the one who proposed it, didn't come with a proposal of a compromise. He walked in with not a compromise. He walked in with an ultimatum. So obviously they're not going to respond with a compromise, given that he gave them nothing he gave them no grounds for a compromise. It was either my way or the highway. That's not a compromise.
So I'm saying there's nothing you can compromise in this situation. It is all or nothing.
I completely disagree.
Why do you? Wait, no. I before I go to bed, because like you're just crazy in the head. Like, like why? How?
I'm screaming.
Disprove what I just said, please.
Okay, well then why don't they ask? Like, they could just sit down with Obito and actually discuss this with them instead of trying to go to war.
Obito literally sat down. Obito literally sat. They literally let Obito like have a huge spiel about like the history, about the Sage of Six Paths, about all this stuff. They let him talk, and then but Obito's conclusion at the end was like, okay, and here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. A dream world or worldwide warfare? Which do you guys want? And they're like, well, we kind of want to like, you know, we still kind of want to live in the world we're in. Like, do we have an option? No, he didn't give them an option. He said,
so they choose to go to war. War's bad. They chose war. They're bad.
No, but the alternative.
Technically speaking, Obito just says, "Are you in on the plan or not?" And they say no, like obviously. And he says, "Okay, well, I hereby declare war on you all." He actually didn't give them the war option. Obito is the one who proposes war after they say no to the Infinite Tsukuyomi. That's how it actually goes. So Obito is the one who instigated war.
Okay, neither side wants the war, though. And so they could have talked down and tried to talk it out. They don't even try.
How are you supposed to talk out this situation?
Okay, I understand that he was literally sitting down and gave his whole spiel about this. They just said that they let him talk, but they didn't continue to talk. They're just, oh, we're at war? All right, well, we're at war then.
No, that's because that's because Obito literally says, okay, it's war then, and then dips.
Okay, no. They could have said, no, stop, let's talk.
We're getting hyper.
They let him go.
You're still going to lose this fight because Obito's the one who did. He's like, okay, war then, bye.
They didn't walk away. They had time to react.
No, Oodie, literally, I'm looking at the chapter for reference. It is chapter 467. Obito's like, I'll create this world with no bad blood, no wars, blah, blah, blah. And the Raikkoku is like, insane. I'm not handing the world over to you. Gaara's like, peace that exists only as illusion. That is just an illusion, blah, blah, blah. They're not onto it. And then he's like, they talk for a little bit. Obito's like, hey, you know, like, you guys haven't accomplished anything, blah, blah, blah. There is no hope. So hand over the Biju, or war. And like, war? What do you mean? And then he's just like, very well, and they're like, we're not going to abandon hope, dude. He's like, okay, I declare war on you all. Like, Obito
no, I'm looking at it right now. He literally says, now hand over the remaining 8 tails and 9 tails.
Yeah, give the world to Obito, end the world, or start a war.
Be upon war. So he's telling them beforehand. He's not saying, oh, we're at war, by the way, and bye. He's saying, he's asking for their cooperation. Cooperation is a positive thing.
Cooperation's ending the world.
And they refuse to cooperate.
With only one cooperation, with only one side losing is not actual cooperation. It's not real cooperation. Compromise.
Everyone benefits from the Infinite Tsukuyomi. It's peace. They're going to war. They're choosing war over peace.
And now we're getting back to Madara's wrong.
There's no war in the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
Dude, you see how you keep shifting.
That's not true. There is war in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Yamato fights Kabuto.
That's not war. That's conflict.
You keep shifting the goalposts, though. Where, in what way did Obito give grounds where he was willing to lose out on something to be better for both sides?
He's asking for cooperation. Cooperation is the first step towards compromise.
But they were cooperating in the fact that they were willing to listen to him.
Exactly. They weren't willing to listen. And communication is the number one thing in any relationship.
They did listen.
They did listen.
They heard him, but they didn't listen.
No, they did listen. And
in fact, they're like making fun of him. They're like, they
listened and
just an illusion.
They listened and responded.
They're being
They're not just
mean to
making
him.
fun of him. Gaara literally explicitly says, like, hey, like, we can't give up hope, right? Like, this is not something we're going to do.
Raikage says, to hell with that. You don't think that's an aggressive approach? He's the one inciting Obito. Obito was calm and collected.
I can't. I gotta go. I gotta go.
This is Raikage's fault. Raikage started the war.
You scared him away.
Thanks,
I'm not
thanks,
even
Hot Boy, for
scared
coming
of the
on. You want to like
conversation.
plug your channel or like, hey, what are you uploading soon?
Uploading nothing because I'm
yeah,
not a
JJK
YouTuber.
streams.
Yeah, JJK stream tomorrow, whatever. Yeah, check me out, Hot Boy Spicy, whatever. It's cool sometimes. It can be cool there. I make videos sometimes, probably not very often for the foreseeable future.
You
Because I
make
got
a lot of
full-time
One
job.
Piece videos. You have a lot of One Piece videos. You have a couple of Naruto videos on there. I think you hinted at you had an idea for a Naruto video, but I don't know if you wanted to like publicly say that or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Guys, don't listen to Ood ever.
Yeah,
His takes.
it was a fever dream. Didn't happen.
Yeah, he's literally he's trapped himself in the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm very
And I
glad
think we-
you
I
agreed
think
on
we got
all
a-
of our takes and not Oodie's.
I will say
And
all
I
the
think we got
discussions
a lot
we
of
had.
good insight from you.
These are
as
all my
well.
hot takes. I
Thanks.
expected you to disagree. The reason we discussed these
All
are
of his
because
takes
I
are hot
knew
takes.
beforehand that we disagreed on all of these because we already discussed these previously. I knew we disagreed on these, so that's why we're discussing them. We agree on absolutely everything else. Everything else?
No,
that's why
you
you're
don't.
the
Oodie, you did
best
say
Naruto
you said
YouTuber.
watch. You kept saying like wait till Hot Boy agrees with me. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I hadn't watched this video, so I'm like, is he gonna agree? I don't know. I'm gonna find out live.
I
And he
meant,
did.
I meant the other hot boy, not this one.
Sure,
What?
sure, babe.
I'm telling
What
you, he's
other
literally
Hot
in
Boy
the Infinite
Spicy
Tsukiyomi.
is there?
He's literally in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, bro. He's gonna like keep gaslighting himself.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gaslight
if anyone's the
the girl boss
gaslighting
in the
terrorist, it's
house.
Oodie, and I stand by it.
I'm dyslexic. I was talking about cold girl chili.
Nice.
Okay.
I guess the last thing I'll say to you, Ood, is I think the TLDR, you just have like a big villain fetish, and you like want to defend them no matter what.
I don't advocate for violence or
I
destruction.
No,
mean,
not
we,
always.
The
He
other
doesn't
the
defend
good guys
pain.
are the ones who do that.
we do not kink shame in this house, so you do you.
Okay.
He doesn't defend pain though. He just defends his boy Madara, his crush.
Madara is objectively the best character. Objectively correct.
Objectively.
170 something pages proving me right in my college thesis.
That
Nah,
doesn't mean
dude.
it's right,
Did
honey.
you really write a college thesis about why Madara is the best character in Naruto?
Yeah, I think I've shown it to you
It was
before,
more. It
but
had
No.
more
I'll
than
link
Madara
to you
in it.
again
He's
really
just being a
quick.
troll under the bridge. It had
Yeah.
more to do with than just Madara. So.
Well, honestly, after hearing your takes in this stream, that's probably a dog shit paper. I'm not gonna lie.
See, 178
Damn.
pages. 178.
Of wrongness.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but we'll let you go so you can get some sleep.
Yeah,
In the
thank you
general
guys.
chat.
Thank
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. We appreciate it. Good night.
you. Sorry for
Yeah.
I don't hate you, Ood. I'm just I say mean words sometimes.
No, roast his ass.
Any final
Yeah,
words
yeah,
you want to
can
say to
stay on for
Daigo
5 more
Knights?
minutes of roasting if you want.
No, it's okay. I gotta go.
All right, good night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Nice meeting you. I don't think I've ever talked to you, Kamui, but Cam and Ood are pretty active on my server, so I know them pretty decently. So.
And I'm
Yeah.
a writer
Good
too,
luck,
so
man.
I get it all. Don't worry. You're good. We're cool.
Next time, if you come on, we could talk about like not Oodie's hot takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe like, we can talk about writing in general. I generally don't get to have enough of those discussions, so.
No,
it'd be
I
cool.
agree. Yeah.
All right.
I think
Yeah, of
all that
course.
would be great.
Yeah. All right. Good night.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
99.
Thanks for staying 42 minutes later.